Kings Warm-Up with Bob Miller and Nick Nixon is brought to you by your local Pepsi-Cola bottler. Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Live from the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, British Columbia, the Los Angeles Kings take on the Vancouver Canucks. Hi, everybody. This is Bob Miller along with Nick Nixon, and this will be the final road game of the regular season for the Los Angeles Kings. These same two teams, the Canucks and the Kings, will meet tomorrow night in Los Angeles in the final game of the regular season. And, Nick, the Kings would like to get back to winning on the road, of course, because next week they're going to open the playoffs on the road in Edmonton.
That's right. The last 5 road games have not been kind to the Kings. All losses right here in Vancouver, New York against the Islanders, Detroit, and 2 games in Calgary. And, Bob, going back the last 7 games overall, the Kings have only won once, and they've been struggling putting the puck in the net. Just 20 goals, an average of under 3 a game, and a lot of individuals are in kind of a slump.
The other night in the game against Edmonton, it appeared that Marcel Dionne had his 874th assist, which would have put him ahead of Phil Esposito into 3rd place on the all-time NHL assist list. But in looking at tapes, they took that assist away from Marcel, gave it to Jim Fox. So Marcel still needs 1 more assist now to pass Phil Esposito into 3rd place on the all-time NHL assist list with 874. For the season, Marcel has got 46 goals, 77 assists, 123 points, leads the Kings in scoring, and is 4th in scoring in the NHL. One guy who is experiencing a homecoming here tonight is Dave Tiger Williams.
That's right, Tiger Williams, first game as a King against his former teammates here in Vancouver. He played 4.5 seasons for the Canucks from the mid-79-80 season through last year. Had his best season goal-scoring wise in the NHL while with the Canucks 4 years ago when he tallied 35 times. He also needs just 1 goal for 200 in his long career. Tiger Williams with the Kings was acquired on March the 12th, right at the trading deadlines, and Pat Quinn has been very happy with his work. In the 10 games with the Kings, he has 4 goals and 3 assists.
And we'll be right back with more pregame comments from Vancouver in 1 minute. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network. In the Smythe division for these two teams have already been determined. They are not going to rise or fall depending upon what they do tonight. The Kings, however, would like to remain and finish above 500 on the season. Right now, the Kings have won 33 games. They have lost 32 and tied 13. They have 79 points and are 4th in the Smythe division. The Vancouver Canucks having a tough year. They have won 25, lost 45. That's their most losses in the last 11 years. And 8 ties. They have 58 points. They'll finish last in the Smythe division and out of the playoffs. They're going to be without their leading scorer tonight, Patrick Sundstrom. He is out of Sweden, and he is out of the lineup with a rib cartilage injury. So the next leading scorer is also out of Sweden. That's Thomas Gradin.
That's right. 3 times in his fine career here in Vancouver, he has led the club in scoring. He is the Canucks' all-time point getter with 509 points. This year, 22 goals, 42 assists for 64 points. He's having his least productive season since his rookie year back in 78-79, and he's really struggled in the final quarter. The last 17 games, he's produced just 1 goal.
Their leading goal scorer is Tony Tanti, a young man that they obtained in a trade which sent Kurt Fraser to Chicago. Tony Tanti has 38 goals. He led Vancouver in goals last season with 45. Now, if he gets 2 more goals in tonight's game or tomorrow night, he'll become the first Vancouver Canuck ever to score 40 or more goals in back-to-back seasons. But the Canucks goaltending has been a problem, and they have allowed 393 goals coming into the game tonight. That is by far the most they have ever allowed in their NHL history. The Kings are going to get another look tonight at a youngster who played pretty well on defense the other night against the Edmonton Oilers. That's young Ken Hammond.
That's right. Coach Pat Quinn's reaction to Ken Hammond's play was that he is fundamentally sound. He'll get another opportunity to show what he can do tonight. Last weekend, he was in Detroit leading the RPI Engineers to the NCAA Championship. He's a native of Mississauga, Ontario, 6'1", 195 pounds. Kings' 8th-round pick back in 1983.
Want to remind you, tomorrow night is awards night at the Fabulous Forum. The Kings and the Vancouver Canucks will meet there tomorrow night. And then next Wednesday and Thursday, the playoffs in Edmonton. We'll have those for you live on KGIL Radio and Channel 9 at 6:20 each night. And then a week from tomorrow night, April 13th, and possibly the 14th if a game is needed, the playoffs will move back to Los Angeles. We'll be back in 1 minute. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network. Another game tonight in the NHL, but it is a real important battle in the Smythe division.
That's right. The Alberta teams go at it. Calgary is at Edmonton. Big game for the Flames, who are battling Winnipeg for second place at home ice in the first round.
And that's the only other game tonight. As we said, these two teams, the Kings and the Canucks, will be back in Los Angeles tomorrow night to wind up the regular season. So here tonight in Vancouver, it's the Kings and the Vancouver Canucks, and we invite you to stay tuned now for Kings hockey, which follows immediately.
Kings Warm-Up with Bob Miller and Nick Nixon has been brought to you by your local Pepsi Cola bottler. Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
The Los Angeles Kings are on the air. Exciting National Hockey League action is brought to you by Toyota, who invite you to see their new cars and trucks for 1985 at your Toyota dealer. By Adidas, the official shoes and activewear of the Kings. Catch the spirit of the game with Adidas. Adidas, when you're playing to win. By Stroh's, America's only fire-brewed beer. Fire-brewed for smoother taste. By Mark C. Bloom. You can't choose the right tire if you don't have a choice. Mark C. Bloom. By Canon. Quality cameras and photographic equipment. So advanced, Canon is the world's leader in 35mm photography. And by Great Western Savings. With over 300 locations to serve you and more than $22 billion in assets. It's a new brand of banking.
Live from the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, British Columbia, the Los Angeles Kings have their final road tune-up before next week's playoffs as they meet the Vancouver Canucks. Hi, everybody. This is Bob Miller along with Nick Nixon, and this will be the 7th meeting of the regular season between the two teams. The Kings lead the series, 3 wins. Vancouver has won 2, and 1 game ended in a tie.
The series started back in Los Angeles opening night for the Kings, October 13th. Vancouver came from behind to win in overtime 6-5. Then the Kings won 4 straight, including a 12-1 decision against Vancouver in Los Angeles on November 29th. The Kings set a club record for most goals in a game and most power play goals. They were 6 of 8 on the power play that night. The most recent meeting between these two clubs was March 8th here in Vancouver. The Canucks prevailed by a score of 4-3.
In the Smythe division, the Edmonton Oilers, of course, are going to win the division. They have 108 points. Philadelphia, though, is the overall leader in points in the NHL. They have 111. Winnipeg is second with 93 points. Calgary, playing at Edmonton tonight, they are third with 92. Then the Kings are fourth with 79, and the Vancouver Canucks are last and out of the playoffs with 58 points. The Kings record coming into this game tonight, they are 1 game over 500. They have won 33, lost 32, and tied 13. They have 79 points. And the Vancouver record, they have won 25, they have lost 45 and tied 8, and they have 58 points. The Kings, Nick, left some players back in Los Angeles rather than have them make this 1-game trip tonight. So the Kings will be without Jay Wells. They'll be without center Brian Wilkes, and also Doug Smith, who is still out with that knee injury.
That's right, the report on Doug Smith. I talked to Pat Quinn last night when the club arrived here in Vancouver. He said he has been skating, and they expect him ready for the Edmonton series, which starts next Wednesday.
And, of course, the Kings, after tomorrow night, when they play at home at the Fabulous Forum, and that is awards night, all the Kings awards will be given out at the end of the first period. They'll get ready to play Wayne Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers next week in the opening round of the playoffs, and that will be at Edmonton next Wednesday night and Thursday night. And again, a reminder, you'll see and hear all those games live on KGIL Radio, 1260 on the AM dial, and on Channel 9 television, Wednesday and Thursday at 6:20. Then a week from tomorrow night, Game 3 of that best-of-5 series switches to Los Angeles, and also on Sunday, April 14th, if a 4th game is needed in that series. And there are tickets available at the Forum box office and also at all Ticketmaster outlets for that game against the Edmonton Oilers. The Los Angeles Kings have come out onto the ice here. The Vancouver Canucks are already out. We'll be back with the start of tonight's game in 1 minute. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network. Bob Miller along with Nick Nixon back here at Vancouver, and now our national anthems.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
And now, with a look at the goaltenders and the starting lineups in tonight's game, here's Nick.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Darren Elliott will be the goaltender for the Kings. 32 games this year. He has 11 wins, along with 11 losses and 6 ties. His average is .441. 2 previous games against Vancouver this season, he is 0-2. At the other end, Richard Brodeur, in 50 games, 16 wins, 26 losses, 6 ties. His average is .468. Brodeur this year against the Kings is 0-1 in lifetime, 5 wins, 7 losses, and 7 ties. The referee tonight, Bob Hall. The linesman, Jim Christensen, along with Ron Foyt. And here with the first period in the final road game of the regular season for the Kings, Bob Miller.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. As the teams get ready to face off out at center ice, Terry Ruskowski will take the draw. At intermission tonight, we'll be replaying some of the highlights of that great series of 3 years ago between the Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. Games 1 and 5 in that series. Kings win the draw. Engblom sends it to the Vancouver line. Lands breaks it up, drives it all the way down into the Kings zone. Out comes Darren Elliott, puts it up on the boards, over to Shutt. He didn't get it. McNab with a shot. Stick save by Elliott. Puck comes around to Dave Tiger Williams. Williams in the Kings zone. Williams in deep, passes behind the net around the left side, intercepted by McNab. Up the middle of Mo LeMay. LeMay spun around by Engblom. Kings with it. Back they come 3-on-3 to center. Here is Williams. He gives it a shot. Shot across the line. He shoots, and a save by Brodeur. And the rebound covered up by the Vancouver goaltender, and he hangs on for the face-off. This is an official copyrighted broadcast of California sports and the Los Angeles Kings, and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any reproduction, rebroadcast, or other use of the accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Kings is prohibited. Pat Quinn behind the King bench, looking on and hoping his team is going to put it together on the road now. As we said, they're going to open the playoffs on the road next week at Edmonton. Kings change up lines now. Marcel Dion comes out along with Dave Taylor and Brian McClellan. Rick LaPointe and Gary Galley back on defense. First period just underway. No score in the game. Dion ready on the face-off against Gary Lupul. And on the draw, Kings with it. Out to the right side to Galley. Galley, Vancouver zone, down the right side, cutting in. And lost the puck there as it was taken away from him by Vancouver's Peter Strico. Back come the Canucks across the line. Lupul down the middle, and his pass broken up. Taken by Gary Galley. Galley feeds it around the left side. Peter Strico with it again for Vancouver. Strico back behind the King net. Comes around the right side, trying to give it to Rick Lands. Here's Lands, the right side of the circle into Strico. Strico goes behind the net. He's bumped there. The puck is still loose. Pass out to Lupul, broken up by Dave Taylor. Taylor coming back to center now. 3-on-2 of things to Trailer Dion. Dion with it across the line. Dion over to Taylor. Taylor on the right side. Can't control it. Taken away by J.J. Daigneault of Vancouver. No score, first period. Bob Miller with Nick Nixon. Smeal for Vancouver to Lupul. Lupul gives it now to Daigneault across the King line. Broken up by LaPointe and cleared by Galley back out to center. Comes back into the Vancouver zone. Here is Garth Butcher with it. Butcher's pass up to center, taken away by Bernie Nichols. Nichols down the right side, Vancouver zone. He shoots, and a stick save. Rebound held in by Phil Sykes. Sykes down the left wing corner. He's checked there. Puck taken by Nichols. Nichols tried to come to the slot. Tipped off his stick. He gets it again. Left wing. Here's Nichols. His pass to Fox. Broken up the middle. Sykes with a shot deflected up into the crowd. And we'll have a face-off with 18:21 to go in the first period. No score in the game.
Richard Brodeur, again the goaltender for the Vancouver Canucks. He's been tested by Smith, or rather Shutt, along with Bernie Nichols here in the first couple of minutes. Thomas Gradine out on the ice. We mentioned in the pregame report, having an off year, just 1 goal in his last 17 games, 22 goals on the season for 64 points.
Bernie Nichols on the draw. Nichols sends it in the left wing corner, picks it up himself, shoots, and a pad save by Brodeur. Nichols shot on the rebound, went wide to the right. Nichols with it again. Nichols against the right wing boards. He is bumped there. Again, he holds it in, battling with Gradine. Nichols gets knocked down. Puck comes around the left side and taken there by Tony Tanti. Tanti, Vancouver's leading goal scorer, pass ahead. Here's Gradine at the King line, and he overskated it there. Taken away by Ken Hammond, the King rookie defenseman. Poked away from him. Hammond gets bumped to the blue line by Tony Tanti, but back in the King zone. Jim Fox with it. No score, first period, and an offside called against the Canucks, or with 17:51 left to go here in the first period. No score in the game, and the face-off outside the King blue line.
Bernie Nichols coming off the ice, enjoying his finest season since he joined the Kings 4 years ago. Tied with Marcel Dion for the goal-scoring leadership on the club. Coming into tonight's game, Bernie with a total of 46 goals on the season, 52 assists for 98 points.
Kings got Bob Miller out at center now, and he's got Anders Hawkinson on the right wing. The left wing is J.P. Kelly. Craig Redmond back on defense, along with the Kings' Brian Engblom. No score first period. Bob Miller with Nick Nixon. Kings with it, moving from right to left as you join us on radio and TV. Pass ahead to Bob Miller. Miller comes to the Vancouver line. Down the right side, he gets tripped, and a penalty coming up against the Canucks. A hooking penalty against the Vancouver Canucks. We'll be back with a King power play in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Drew the tripping penalty as he poked the puck away from Doug Hallward. He was going deep down the right wing boards, and Hallward goes off at 2:23, and the Kings have the game's first power play. They're 6th in the NHL on the man advantage.
2 minutes for hooking the penalty, and the face-off now to the left of Brodeur, and on the draw, here's Dave Taylor with it. Taylor passing in deep to Bernie Nichols. Nichols in the Vancouver zone, back to Taylor in the right wing corner, now back behind the net to Nichols. Nichols trying to roll it out in front, broken up there, but Nichols gets it again. Bernie against the left wing boards, can't hang on to it, and now McAdam clears it for Vancouver. McAdam and Jerry Gillis, number 10, are up front, with Doug Lidster and Michel Petit back in defense for the Canucks. Kings with it. Here's McClellan at center. He gives it to Nichols across the line. Nichols pass to the right point, taken by Hardy. Hardy down the wall on the right side. His pass back over to Dion. He shoots, and a save by Brodeur. Good shot right off the pass by Dion. Puck is held in at the left point by Nichols, but now taken away and cleared by McAdam again. Back down into the Kings zone.
Good setup by Mark Hardy, feeding it across ice to Marcel Dion, who shot off the pass, but Brodeur came up with a big save.
Now the Kings with it again. Pass to Dion, taken away. Down the right side into the Kings zone, Thomas Gradine. Nichols getting back to check him. Gradine's pass into the slot, wide over to the right side, and the puck taken by the Kings, Mark Hardy. Hardy comes up the center. He gives it to Dion. Dion down the left side into the Vancouver zone. Dion in deep with Taylor. Dion cutting in. Dion going behind the net. Gave it in front to Taylor. He shoots, and a save again by Brodeur, who's back in the net with 52 seconds left to go in the King power play. No score in the game.
Kings on the power play, their percentage 23.5, and the league average is 22.1. Penalty killing, the Canucks dead last, 21st at 70.4%. The Kings also lead the league in power play goals scored with 85.
Referee tonight, Bob Hall. The linesmen, Jim Christensen and Ron Foyt. Face-off will be to the right of Richard Brodeur. 16:29 to go in the first period. No score in the game. Terry Ruskowski moves in on the power play now. He's got Shutt on his right side, and Jim Fox over on the left for his face-off. Puck comes to the blue line, taken by Engblom. Engblom goes to the right side. He's back at the blue line with Redmond. Pass down in front to Ruskowski, over to Fox. Couldn't control it. Now goes behind the net. Fox with it. Up the left side of Redmond. Redmond to the left point. Slides it over to Engblom. He shoots, scores! Tipped in front. And Shutt, I think, got his stick on it to tip it in. A power play goal for the Kings. And they lead 1-0, and we'll be telling you more about that Stroh's power rating later on. And Kings just get another point in that as they score on the power play.
Greg Redmond fed it across to Brian Engblom. He took the shot. Both Ruskowski directly in front of Brodeur, and Shutt at the circle to the left of the Vancouver goaltender. were in line to get a piece of it. We'll wait for the official call, but the Kings, who have had some good scoring chances here in the first 3.5 minutes of the hockey game, score at 3:47 on the power play. Unofficially, they have outshot the Canucks 6-0.
Well, they give it to Ruskowski. I thought shut the way Terry came back out and congratulated him. I thought that Steve got his stick on it. Either way, Kings have the lead now. Here's a 3-on-3 break for the Kings. Miller down the right side, drops it to Redmond, cutting in. Redmond in front, and a backhander is knocked away as J.P. Kelly got his stick on it. Puck comes up the right side, Vancouver with it. 1-0 Kings lead. Pass ahead to Mo LeMay. LeMay over to Cam Neely. Neely down the left side, drops it to McNab. His shot saved by Elliott. Rebound picked up by Redmond. Can't clear it. Held in by Lidster. Lidster for the Canucks. To the left point, his pass taken away by Redmond. Redmond can't clear it. Mo LeMay holds it in. LeMay drives it in deep. Bob Miller with it now. Back behind the trying to go behind the King net. Gets knocked down. Gets up again. Holds it against the boards. McNab tries to dig it out. And now gets help from Mo LeMay. LeMay kicks it over to McNab. McNab tried to center it. It's deflected against the boards in the King zone and taken now by Anders Hawkinson. Hawkinson with it up across the King line. Now to the red line. Here's Hawkinson. He drives a shot from there and a glove stop by Brodeur. 15 minutes to go in the first period. Kings ahead 1-0. Here's Ruskowski with it at center. He gives it now to Tiger Williams. Williams drives it into the Vancouver zone. Back behind the net, Doug Lidster. Pass taken away by Tiger Williams. Williams up the middle now to Galley, shooting, and it's just tipped wide by Brodeur. On the left wing side, here's Williams again. Into Ruskowski. His pass up the slot, intercepted by the Canucks, and back we come left to right. 1-0 Kings. Here's LeMay to Stan Smeal. Smeal drives it into the King zone. Rebound off the boards, taken by Rick Lapointe. Clears it out to center ice. Right in front of the King bench now. Ruskowski throws a check Petit, and the puck taken by Tiger Williams. Williams can't get around Gary Lupul at center, and Lupul fires it into the King zone. On the right side, here's Stan Smeal. He lets it go to the right point. Petit holds it in. Now it goes in front to Strico with a drive, and it's blocked in front as Gary Galley was there for the Kings. Kings third to center. Here's Tiger Williams. Flips the shot up into the air, and it's gloved by Brodeur. Kings are going to change on the fly. Out comes Phil Sykes and Bernie Nichols. Steve Shutt is still out for the Kings. 1-0 Kings lead, first period. Puck taken by Michel Petit of Vancouver. Drives it into the Kings zone. Into the right wing corner, and McAdam tried to pick it up there. Taken away by Rick Lapointe. Now up to Phil Sykes on the left wing. Sykes slides it over to Steve Shutt. Here's Shutt to the red line. Shutt shoots from there wide to the left side, and the rebound off the board. Doug Hallward with it. And now up to Al McAdam. McAdam gives it to Peter Strico. Strico at the red line. Flips it to the King line. Knocked down by Hardy. Loose puck picked up by Phil Sykes. Sykes for the Kings. Back up to center ice at the red line. Here's Sykes dropping it now to Fox. Right wing. He shoots, and it's deflected over the net. And gets caught in the back of the net. And the whistle blows with 13:33 to go in the first period. And the Kings have a 1-0 lead.
Jimmy Fox out on the ice now on right wing. The Kings in front on the goal by Ruskowski. Fox with his 30th goal of the season the other night at home against Edmonton, thus giving the Kings 5 30-plus goal scorers, which is a club record. The old mark set last season at 4. Kings goal, Ruskowski's 15th on the deflection. Engblom and Redmond with the assist, and for Roscoe, his first goal in his last 18 games.
1-0 Kings. Same two teams at the Fabulous Forum tomorrow night, and there are tickets available. It's awards night tomorrow night for the Kings. That'll be at the end of the first period. Puck is taken now by the Canucks. Rick Lands. Lands passing up on the left side, and Jerry Gillis clears it to center, taken away the red line by Hardy. Hardy fires it right back into the Vancouver zone. 1-0 Kings lead. 13:15 to go here in the first period as you join us on radio and TV. Vancouver moving left to right. Gary Lupul sends it up to Rick Lands. Lands to the red line. Lands now to the King line and put himself offside. Passed it right at the blue line and then went across the line and put himself offside on the play.
Scratches tonight. The Vancouver Canucks have quite a few injuries. They finish out the regular season. Ron DeLorme, Taylor Hall, Patrick Sundstrom, Yuri Bubla, Mark Curtin, and Glenn Cochran, whom they just acquired from Philadelphia, are all out injured. A total of 6 injured Canucks. The Kings without Doug Smith, who has resumed skating back home. He has missed the last 3 games with that knee injury. Mokosak, Anderson, Wells, and Wilkes not in the lineup this evening.
Now at center ice, Vancouver with it, sent down into the King zone. Going to be icing called here against the Canucks as Engblom gets back to touch it. And we'll be back in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network. Faceoff will be in the Vancouver zone to the right of Richard Brodeur. The Kings have outshot Vancouver 6-1 here in the first period. Kings ahead 1-0, 12:59 to go in the period. Dion on the draw, back to the left side to McClellan. Mack fires it back around the Vancouver net. It comes around on the left side, and Mike Stevens, the rookie for the Canucks, gives it away. Pass in front of McClellan, and he shot wide. Dion gave it to McClellan, and his shot went wide. Back comes Vancouver. Up to center, here's Mike Stevens. Down the right wing against the veteran Gradin. Gradin in deep, dropped it back for Tanti. His pass up the middle, broken up by McClellan. Back come the Kings, up to center. Here's Taylor's pass, and back checking to take it away, J.J. Daigneault. He gave it away to Taylor again. Taylor down the left side, but Tony Tanti jumps in to take it, and Tanti gave it back to Taylor. Taylor lost it to Gradin, and Gradin brings it out of his own zone. Up to center, a 4-on-2. Pass goes to Daigneault, back to Gradin, right wing, pass in front, broken up and controlled by Engblom. Engblom's pass up to the blue line. Here's Dion with it now. Dion to the red line. Here's Dion, drops it for McClellan. Mack across the line, gives it on the right side. Redmond shooting wide to the left side. Poinik, the Kings, as you say, have had some great opportunities here with defensemen coming in and finding themselves wide open, especially on that right side.
Yeah, the forwards are just out skating, the Vancouver forwards, and the Kings are getting good penetration for some quality chances.
Long pass down into the Kings zone, taken there by Gary Galley. Now to center ice, broken up, and Galley with it again. Galley gives it back to Hogginson. 11:43 left to go in the first period. Bob Miller with Nick Nixon, and the Kings on a goal by Terry Ruskowski on the power play of a 1-0 lead. Lidster gives it away to Bob Miller. Miller in the Vancouver zone, tried to pass over the left side to J.P. Kelly. Cam Neely takes it away. Kelly wraps him hard into the boards. Puck comes back out to center, picked up now by the Kings' Gary Galley. Here's Galley into the Vancouver zone at the left side. Galley's shot blocked and held in by the Kings. Picked up by Bob Miller. Miller on the left side, fell down, gets up, still has it. Pass in deep to J.P. Kelly. He tried to center it, broken up by Brodeur, and taken now by Mo LeMay. LeMay over to Peter McNab. He clears it up to center, and Gary Galley is there. Kings ahead 1-0. 11:05 left to go in the first period. Puck slides across the King blue line, and Gary Galley back to get it. He sends it over the left side now, and Rick Lapointe passing up to center ice, and an offside pass. Two-line pass called against the Kings. 10:57 left to go in the first period. Kings ahead 1-0, and this game is coming to you live from Vancouver, British Columbia. Kings hockey being brought to you by your Toyota dealer and the reliable and inexpensive Tercel 3-door SR5, now at your local Toyota dealer. And by Inglenook, a special place or time to an LA sports fan that's rooting for the home team. And we at Inglenook Vineyards are glad to be part of it. Now Tiger Williams lined up against Stan Smeel, and back on defense, Ken Hammond wearing number 6, who just came out of college at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. They won the NCAA Hockey Championship last Saturday, and now Tiger lined up against his former teammate here, Stan Smeel. And off the draw, the Canucks have it at center. Here's Petit giving it over to Hallward. Smeel and Williams still battling. Puck is driven back behind the King net, taken there by Hammond. Hammond's pass up to Schutt. Schutt can't clear it out. Canucks hold it in. Now Hammond with it again. Hammond on the left side. Kings ahead 1-0. Nice pass up to center to Ruskowski. He feeds it down the left side to Schutt. Schutt is held up there for a moment by Petit, and the puck taken by Hallward. Hallward's pass to Lupul. Lupul sends it up to center. Ruskowski coming back. He took it away. He gets knocked down at center ice. Puck taken by the Canucks. Hallward sends it up to center. Here's Lupul down the right wing. Lupul against Hardy. Hardy cuts him off, and Lupul's pass comes back out to center ice. 10:20 left to go in the first period. 1-0 in favor of the Kings. Here's Hallward across the line, and Tiger Williams knocks him down. Puck is picked up in deep by Hammond. Tipped away from him, but intercepted by Ruskowski now. Terry gives it up on the right side to Steve Schutt. Kings ahead 1-0. Here's Schutt down the right side into the Vancouver zone. Down the middle goes Ruskowski. Gets a shot and a save by Brodeur, and also hit the outside of the right goal post. Ruskowski with it in the right wing corner. Now to Tiger Williams. In front, he gets knocked down. He shoots, save. Schutt can't get to the rebound, and it's covered up by Brodeur.
Well, Tiger Williams with a pretty good scoring chance. I was looking for the hooking penalty as he was hauled down from behind. He and Ruskowski doing good work in the corner. He came in front and then was knocked to the ice as he let a low shot go. Brodeur made the save, and a couple of Kings battling for the rebound. Again, the Kings doing some good work along the boards in the offensive zone, and they're just dominating the Vancouver Canucks here in the first part of period 1. 9:52 left. The Kings in front 1-0 on the goal by Ruskowski.
Now at the right point, Redmond tries to hold it in, but it is tipped out to center by Jerry Gillis. Now a pass to Al McAdam. McAdam down the left side into the Kings zone. He shoots, and a stick save by Elliott. Puck comes to the right side to Lands with a shot, and a stick save by Darren Elliott. And the rebound goes up over the glass into the crowd.
Rick Lance letting that shot go from just outside the right face-off circle. He, like so many of the Vancouver Canucks this year, they got off to that miserable start, but they've had more than their share of injuries. He's wearing that brace around his neck. He had an injury earlier this season. He missed about 20 games, but he's an outstanding all-around defenseman when he's at the top of his game. And with he being out for so many games, their power play really suffered because he's great at the point when they have the man advantage.
Now the Kings with it, moving right to left, leading 1-0. Cross-ice pass goes over to Nichols. Nichols across the line. His shot blocked in the slot, cleared to the blue line, held in by Craig Redmond. Redmond's pass down the right side. Here's Nichols walking in. Nichols over to Sykes and went behind him as Sykes set up on the left side of the net. Puck is taken by Jean-Marc Lanthier. Lanthier ahead to Jerry Gillis. Vancouver with it. Poke checked away by Engblom. Picked up by Lance. His shot and a stick save by Elliott. And the puck deflects up over the glass into the crowd. And we have 9:07 left to go in the first period. And the Kings have a 1-0 lead on the goal by Terry Ruskowski, assisted by Engblom and Redmond.
Kings making some line changes now. Marcel Dion comes out with Taylor and McClellan. Of course, with some extra bodies around the last week since the Kings found out they were going to finish fourth and meet Edmonton, Pat Quinn and Mike Murphy, the coaches, have been doing some experimenting. They're giving Brian Wilkes, who played a couple of games, he's not in the lineup tonight, a chance, and Ken Hammond playing for the second straight night, and some others getting opportunities.
Here's Butcher, the right point with a shot and a glove save by the goaltender Elliott. He drops it down for Gary Galley. Galley back behind the King net. Less than 9 minutes to go in the first period. Kings have a 1-0 lead. Pass comes up the middle of the blue line to Taylor. Taylor sweeps it up to center ice, and it's taken away from McClellan by Lidster. Lidster's pass. Galley with it again. Now it comes to Dion. Dion right wing with Taylor. Dion into the Vancouver zone. Gave it to Taylor. Taylor down the right side. Taylor in deep. Into the right wing corner. Taylor still with it. Now to McClellan. Here's Mack in deep to Taylor. Taylor goes behind the net. Taylor around the left side. Gives it at the blue line to Rick Lapointe. Lapointe to the left point. His pass broken up by the Canucks. Garth Butcher. Back they come. 3-on-2 to center. Pass on the left side to Stevens. Stevens pass back broken up by Rick Lapointe. He tips it out across the blue line. Butcher is checked there. Puck is taken by Tony Tanti. Tanti for Vancouver to Lidster. Now on the left side, here is Mike Stevens into the King zone. He's checked there. Your puck is taken and a shot deflected wide. The shot by Gradine. Picked up by the Kings. 1-0 Kings lead. 8:09 left to go in the first period. Up to center ice now. Here's Gary Galley from the red line with a shot and a glove save by Richard Brodeur. He drops it down for Doug Lidster. Lidster for Vancouver clears it out to center. Knocked down there by Galley. Galley gives it to Hawkinson. Tips off of his stick, taken by Stevens. He lost it to the Hawk at center ice again. And Hawkinson's pass to the Vancouver line. Petit takes it away. Now to Neely. Now it comes up to center ice to Mo LeMay. He gives it to Peter McNab. McNab at center ice. Passes back to Petit. Here's Michel Petit across the King line. Down the left side. In deep and is poked away by Ken Hammond. Puck is now in deep on the left side of the net to McNab. He goes behind the net. He's checked there by Bob Miller. In to help out is Gary Galley. Puck is loose, and Hammond comes over to help out. He spins LeMay around. Pass right up the middle, and just went behind McNab and taken by the Kings. Hawkinson up to center. Here's the Hawk across the line. Tried to give it to J.P. Kelly. Batted to the blue line. Held in by Hammond. Looking for his first NHL point. Can't get the shot off. It's taken away by Mo LeMay. LeMay took it away from Hammond from behind. LeMay on the left side flips it down in the King zone. It's steered into the corner by Elliott. Neely throws a check there at Hammond. Puck is taken by Kelly. J.P. Kelly for the Kings. He gives it to Hardy. Now behind the net to Kelly. They lose it. McNabb rolls it out in front. Saved by Elliott. And he hangs on for the faceoff. 6:58 to go here in the first period. And the Kings have a 1-0 lead. This game is coming to you live from Vancouver, British Columbia. Kings hockey is being brought to you by Quantel. For industry-specific management systems, Quantel is the computer of champions. Remember, when you think computers, think Quantel.
Again, we'd like to remind all of you adults listening, for information on the Kings Face-Off 85 Summer Camp for Adults, call 412-5000.
That'll be this summer out in Palm Springs at the Ocotillo, and the adult hockey camp, Face-Off 85 for men over 30 years of age. Rogie Vachon, the camp director. Coaches Pat Quinn, Mike Murphy, other hockey stars. That'll be June 20th to 23rd in Palm Springs. Canucks with it. Shot from the blue line is wide by J.J. Daigneault, and the rebound comes up to center right. Daigneault bats it back to the King line. Broken up by Hammond. He gave it to Tiger Williams. Now to Ruskowski. He's got the King goal tonight. Terry sends it into the Vancouver zone. It's taken back behind the net by J.J. Daigneault. He leads it up to Peter Skriko. Skriko to Lupul at center. Lupul check there. Gets it ahead to Smeal across the line. Smeal down the left side. Shooting in a pad save by Elliott. Rebound. Ruskowski with it. Ruskowski lost it for a moment. Now it's picked up by Shutt. Shutt clears it to the blue line and out to center ice. Taken now by Tiger Williams. He's checked from behind by Striko. Williams across the line, down the right side, but it's poked away and back out to center. Taken by Shutt. He gives it to Engblom. Ryan has to wait for Williams to get onside. He couldn't wait long enough. And Smeel bumps into Tiger right at the whistle.
Tiger and Stan Smeel have been out there facing off against each other for a couple of shifts here in the first period. Right at the whistle, they just cruised by, and I don't know if Stan thought he was going to lose his balance and he was looking for someone to hold on to, but he spun around Tiger. But Tiger's a good-natured guy. He'll take that kind of little tap.
Is he going to be our guest at the end of the first period?
We'll talk to him after one. Author and hockey player, Tiger Williams.
And we'll also replay that game 1 of that series 3 years ago in the playoffs, the Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. That ended up 10-8 Kings. Here's Nichols. His shot as he came across the line is deflected up into the crowd. 6:01 to go in the first period. The Kings have a 1-0 lead. Same two teams will be back at the Fabulous Forum tomorrow night. There are tickets available for the game. And also, there are tickets still available for the playoff series between the Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. That will be at the Forum April 13th for sure. That's a week from tomorrow night. And April 14th, a week from Sunday, if that fourth game is necessary. That opening series is a best 3 out of 5 against Wayne Gretzky and the Stanley Cup champion Oilers. Here comes Tandy across the line to Gradin. Gradin sends it down the right corner into the King zone. Broken up there by Engblom. He gives it up on the left wing to Sykes. Sykes comes up to center with Fox and Nichols. Now drops it back to Redmond. Redmond across the line, back to Sykes. Sykes sends it in deep in the Vancouver zone. Taken away by Garth Butcher. His pass around the board. Sykes tried to hold it in. He did. It's taken by Fox. Fox at the blue line throws it off on the right boards to Redmond. He overskated it there. Puck is held in by the skate of Jim Fox, but now taken away by Vancouver. Blitzer up to center. Here's a 2-on-1. Gradin and Tandy. Gradin down the left side over to Tandy. He didn't get the pass. Now he picks it up and centered it, broken up by the Kings. So their leading goal scorer with 38 goals, Tony Tandy, came down the right wing and couldn't get the pass. 5:15 to go in the first period. 1-0 Kings. Tandy gives it to Doug Lidster. Vancouver with it, and it's swept down into the King zone, and Darren Elliott leaves it behind the net for Engblom. Up on the left side now to Sykes. He sweeps it up to Bernie Nichols at center, taken away by Cam Neely. Now Canucks almost lose it at their own blue line, but Neely with it again. He gives it to Fox in the middle. He shoots, and a save by Brodeur, and the puck just went wide of the right goalpost. Fox with it again, up the middle, shot by McClellan and a save. Rebound, Nichols, his shot and a save. Nichols again with it, poked off his stick. He comes against the left wing boards. Puck taken by Fox. Here's Fox sending it in deep. Hallward with it there. Hallward's reverse pass back on the right side to Cam Neely. Still 1-0. Here's Mo LeMay down the left wing. He shoots and a stick save by Darren Elliott. Rebound comes up to Bernie Nichols. Kings with some good chances there, Nick. Here's McClellan shoving it ahead. 2-on-2 as Taylor can't hang on to it at center. Taken away by Mo LeMay. LeMay for the Canucks back down the left side. LeMay, top of the left circle. King zone sends it in now, and a shot over the net by Cam Neely. Centered in front by McNab. A rebound shot wide by Petit. Puck is picked up by Taylor. Can't clear it. LeMay shooting. Deflected in front. Taken by Dion. Dion back to center for the Kings. Here's Dion to the red line. Here's Dion across the line with Taylor and McClellan. Dion shoots and a save by Brodeur. Puck is in the right wing corner. McClellan with it for the Kings. Here's Mack in the right circle. Mack in front to Taylor, and he shoots and a save. He hit the goaltender. Brodeur was down, and a penalty for holding coming up. 1-0 Kings. We'll be back in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Mo LeMay goes off for holding at 16:08. Dave Taylor right in front had virtually most of the net to shoot at with Brodeur just lying on his backside, but Dave couldn't lift the puck over the fallen goaltender, or he would have had the Kings' second goal. Kings lead it 1-0. They're on the power play for the second time in the period. Their goal earlier, Ruskowski's, was on the man advantage.
All right, face-off coming up now in the Vancouver zone. Here is Ruskowski winning the draw to Engblom. Engblom at the left point holds it right on the line. Slides it over to Redmond. Redmond to the right point. Fakes a shot. Gives it to Engblom. Engblom up the middle shooting and a save. And the rebound is cleared out to center. As the rebound came to Jerry Gillis and he sent it back into the King zone. Craig Redmond back to get it. Redmond's pass up on the right side to Steve Shutt. Shutt gave it away in his own zone as his pass came in deep to Gillis. A backhander save. Rebound and another save by Darren Elliott. Two good saves. The second one better than the first by Elliott on the shot by Gillis. Kings still ahead 1-0. Vancouver almost getting a short-handed goal. Kings ahead 1-0 with the power play now for another minute 21. Here's Redmond across the line. His pass came back out to center, and when Shutt touched it, he was offside. We're down to 3:10 to go in the first period, and the Kings have a 1-0 lead.
Well, some poor puck handling by the Kings inside their blue line. Steve Shutt had possession of it along the far boards. And then Shutt tried to drop it across to one of the defensemen and didn't get much on the pass. It was picked off, and Gillis went down the middle, had a couple of chances as he followed up on his original shot from 30 feet.
Kings have 1:14 left to go in this power play, and the puck comes up into the crowd again. And we'll have another face-off with 3:04 to go in the first period. Ryan McClellan is out. And along with Dion, Taylor, Nichols, and Mark Hardy.
That puck came up and clipped one of the fans, looked like right on the top of the head. Hopefully he's not too seriously injured, but he's getting some attention now.
All right, face off to the right of Richard Brodeur, and on the draw, Nichols had it, but it's poked away. Here's the race between Lupul and Dion. Dion in front of Lupul, and Dion chases it down, then overskated it. Lupul with it. He gives it to Smeel. Back to Lupul. Back to Smeel. Right side, King's zone. Smeel gets knocked down from behind. Puck comes around to Taylor on the right wing. He is bothered by Lupul. Taylor gets it into Hardy. Hardy's pass over to Dion. Kings moving right to left, and they lead 1-0. They have 48 seconds to go in the power play. Here's Taylor down the right wing into the Vancouver zone. He wraps it around the boards over on the left side to Nichols. Nichols still with it. Nichols' pass goes into the corner to McClellan. Mack is checked there against the boards. Nichols picks it up. Here's Bernie walking out in front. His pass intercepted and cleared by Stan Smeel of Vancouver. 30 seconds left to go in the King power play. Pass on the right wing goes to Taylor. Taylor with a shot wide to the left side. Rebound off the boards is held in by McClellan, but now Tony Tanti breaks it up and drives it all the way down into the King zone. Down to 15 seconds left to go in the Canuck penalty to Mo LeMay. Kings have a 1-0 lead. Nick will be downstairs live talking with Dave Tiger Williams at the end of this period. Now up to center. Here's Hardy across the line. Hardy gives it to Dion. 4 seconds to go in the power play. Dion checked by Petit. Canucks take it away. They're back at full strength. Back they come to center. Gradine down the right side. Can't get around the Kings' Anders Hawkinson. And back to get it for the Kings, Bernie Nichols. Kings ahead 1-0. Here's Rick Lapointe up the center. Lapointe sends it down into the Vancouver zone with 1:39 left to go. Here in the first period, puck is given away, but the pass by Hawkinson taken away by Tony Tanti. He clears it out to center, taken away by the Kings, back of their own blue line. Rick Lapointe, he gives it over to Gary Galley. Galley passes up the center, intercepted by the Canucks. Tony Tanti with it there. He fires it right back into the Kings zone with 1:22 left to go in the first period. 1-0 Kings. Pass taken by Bob Miller. Miller in the King zone. Goes in deep now and takes it toward the back of the net. Now passes up to J.P. Kelly. He tips it out to center. Taken away by Rick Lance. Lance sending it over to J.J. Daigneault. Daigneault down the left side. Up the middle to Tony Tanti. Tanti spins. Shoots wide to the left side. Picked up by Skriko on the left side. Skriko with it. First period. Less than a minute to go. Kings ahead 1-0. Now in the left wing corner. Galley checked there. Now he kicks it ahead. Gave it away though. And a pass up the middle to the right point to Lance. He shoots. Deflected and bounced around in front and finally picked up by the Kings, Gary Galley. He gives it ahead to J.P. Kelly. Kelly across the line, lost it to Rick Lance. 43 seconds left to go in the first period. Pass around the boards goes to Cam Neely. Neely up the center. His pass to Daigneault. Tipped off his stick. Daigneault with it again. He gives it away to Gary Galley. Here's Galley at center ice. Galley waits there with 30 seconds left to go in the first period. Galley flips it into the Vancouver zone. Daigneault knocks it down there. Daigneault's pass back around the left side goes to Mo LeMay. Kings ahead 1-0. 21 seconds left to go in the first period. Canucks with it. Here's Cam Neely on the right side. Neely fires it down into the Kings zone and back to get it. Tiger Williams. He is checked hard behind the net by Mo LeMay. Puck comes up the middle of Petit. 10 seconds to go in the period. Petit's pass taken away by Gary Galley. Galley clears it out to center. 5 seconds to go in the first period. Shot by Lidster and a save made by Elliott. And that is the end of the first period. That's the end of one period here at Vancouver. The unofficial shots on goal, the Kings 12 and the Vancouver Canucks 10. The only goal of the period, credited to Terry Ruskowski, is 15th on the power play, assisted by Engblom and Redmond at 3:47. We'll be back in 2 minutes, and Nick will be talking live with Dave Tiger Williams of the Los Angeles Kings. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Vancouver, the score.
Tiger Williams of the Los Angeles Kings. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Vancouver, the score of the Kings 1, the Vancouver Canucks nothing. We mentioned earlier on the pregame report tonight, former Vancouver Canuck player Dave Tiger Williams playing against his former team tonight as a member of the Los Angeles Kings earlier this season. Detroit was in town when Tiger was a member of them. And Tigers, let's talk a little bit about the 4.5 years you spent here in Vancouver. A lot of great memories, and I guess one of the highlights for you would have to be the playoffs 3 years ago.
Well, that was, anytime you go to the finals, it's got to be your best year, and I've only did it once. And, playoffs are what it's all about, and you play 80 games, to get ready for the playoffs is basically what happens. And, LA did us a great favor that year by beating out Edmonton, and then we move on to the finals. But playoffs is where you find out and you separate the men from the boys.
Tiger, you and Harold Snepps, two of the more popular players in the Vancouver Canucks organization the last 5-6 years, and both of you traded in the offseason. Were you surprised when you moved on to Detroit?
Well, is one ever surprised when you get traded? I was more disappointed than surprised. I'll tell you why, because I liked it here. It's a West Coast city, and we all know what it's like in LA, and we're the LA of Canada, basically, as far as weather's concerned, and a beautiful city. And my family really liked it here, and we had good years here, always made the playoffs, and as far as I was concerned, there was really no need to make two moves. And another thing that surprised me and disappointed me was the fact that a lot of teams don't have any identity anymore. Everybody's moving on, and it's just, the fans like to identify to somebody, and I think they felt that way about Harold and I. But I'm in LA and ready to go.
Let's talk about some of your off-ice interests. I know you were involved in a lot of charities here in Vancouver, and you have some business deals here, don't you?
Well, I've tried to keep busy. I can't play forever. Even though every year I play, I get faster. Pretty soon they'll be calling me Ferrari. But I've always been prepared for my post-career, whatever it's going to be, and I've tried to keep active as possible. And charities are something that anybody in professional anything deserves to give back to the community. We all get paid well, and there's a lot of people out there that need us to help generate awareness of whatever charity you belong to. Me, I'm with the Special Olympics.
And Tiger, one of your off-ice ventures the last year and a half, I'm sure you were working on it. Maybe before that, you wrote a book, and it's called Tiger, A Hockey Story. And I understand it's doing very well in Canada. Is it going to be available in the States?
Well, I don't know. It's available in the form, but I don't know if it's going to go in the States. The paperback will be in the States, but there's I don't understand the complexity of it going across the line, but awful good-looking fellow on the cover. Can't you admit, Nick? I mean, you'd buy it.
I must admit it was a nice makeup job.
Oh, it's a good cover picture. Hey, guys.
Dave, what gave you the idea to do a book?
I always
kept something out of the blue, or?
I should let you finish asking me, but no, Nick. I always kept notes. Every game I keep little notes and everything, and there's a lot of BS that happens in the media and the way it's interpreted, and the fans
media
get it.
People, BS? Come on.
Well, they just, they're not there. They're not in the dressing room. They really don't know what happened. And let's face it, as players, we cover up anything that's going to make us look bad. So I felt that, there was a few things that had to be said, and, I had all these pile of notes, and I ran into James Lawton, who is a very great columnist writer here in Vancouver and writes over for the Londonderry Times over in London, England. And I figured, he was the guy that when I used to write his columns, I felt he said things that I would say if I had that ability to be a writer. And so I got James to help me, and it turned out to be a very good book. And, I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with the cover.
Great. I'll expect my complimentary copy.
$35, I can send one over.
Tiger Williams, the newest King, has been our guest, and I'm sure you'll agree he's quite a character. 1-0. The Kings are in front after the first period. We'll be back with more in 2 minutes. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Favor the Los Angeles Kings here at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, British Columbia. Next week, the Kings are going to open the playoff series against the Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton. And 3 years ago, they did the same thing. They went up to Edmonton to meet the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And the Kings surprised the Oilers in game number 1 up there 3 years ago, winning 10-8. 18 records were set in that opening playoff game 3 years ago. So let's now go back and relive the highlights of game number 1 of 3 years ago between the Kings and the Edmonton Oilers.
When the Stanley Cup playoffs opened, the Kings found themselves matched against Wayne Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers, who had the second best record in the league. The best-of-5 series opened in Edmonton, and the Oilers jumped out to a 4-1 lead. But the Kings scored at the end of the first period to make it 4-3.
Here's Simmer to the Oiler line. Simmer down the left side with 10 seconds to go in front to Taylor. He shoots, he scores! Dave Taylor with with 7 seconds to go in the first period. Scores a power play goal, and the Kings are back in the game.
In the second period, rookie Doug Smith stole the puck in front of the Oilers' net and tied the score. 6 minutes later, Marcel Dion gave the Kings their first lead, 5-4. He scored again later to make it 6-5. Then rookie Darrell Evans scored on an impossible shot from the boards, and the Kings led 7-5. Later, Evans made it 8-6.
Kings with it. Dave Lewis, Oilers zone. Lewis in the slot. Back in front of Brodeur. He shoots. Save, rebound, score by Darrell Evans. His second goal of the game.
In the third period, Wayne Gretzky got one for Edmonton, and the Kings' lead was narrowed to 8-7.
Oilers with it. Trying to tie the score. Messier, right wing side to the King line. Messier with it. Down the middle. Hogman in front. Score!
With 5:04 left in the game, the Kings again took the lead.
Face-off Oilers zone. Gretzky is out. Face-off with Dion. Taken away by Taylor. Dion, he shoots. Save. Rebound. Taylor shoots. Save. Simmer. Score! Charlie Simmer scores on the rebound. And the Kings lead 9-8.
The replay shows that the rebound of Taylor's shot deflected off Simmer's leg into the net. With 1:12 left in the game, Mario Lessard was called upon to make his greatest save.
Long pass, breakaway. Gretzky, he can tie the game. He shoots, saved by Lessard. A save by Lessard with 1:12 to go, and the Kings clear it. 9-8 Kings. Lessard with a save on a Gretzky breakaway. Oilers with it again. Anderson throws it into the King zone. 1 minute to go. Pass to center ice to Bernie Nichols. He's got Simmer with him. Nichols, the net is open. He shoots. He scores! The Kings score into the empty net. It's 10-8 with 52 seconds to go.
The two teams set an NHL playoff record with 18 goals in one game.
So the Kings had won the first game of that series 10-8. Edmonton came back on an overtime goal by Wayne Gretzky to win the second game 3-2. The series then went to Los Angeles, and the Kings had that great comeback game, which we replayed for you a week ago tonight when they were down 5-0 and won 6-5. The Oilers won the next game, game number 4, 3-2, and the teams went back to Edmonton for the deciding game, game number 5 in the series, and we'll replay the highlights of that game for you during our next intermission. Here at Vancouver tonight, the Kings have a 1-0 lead at the end of one period over the Vancouver Canucks. We'll be back to recap that first period for you in 2 minutes. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network. Bob Miller along with Nick Nixon back at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, British Columbia. Nick, I think both you and I thought that Steve Shutt actually tipped that in, and that goal that was scored in the first period. And in talking with a lot of people in the press box, they thought so too, but it was credited to Terry Ruskowski.
Well, it was a play where the Kings moved the puck around the perimeter on the power play. Redmond to Engblom, his shot. Two players in front, Shutt at the circle, and Ruskowski right in front. They announced Ruskowski, so if it stays that way, it will be his 15th goal of the season from Engblom and Redmond at 3:47, the power play goal.
Then the Kings had a couple of other chances, and the guy who came closest to scoring was Jim Fox when he got the shot. And Richard Brodeur, the Vancouver goaltender, made the save, and it got by him and almost went into the right corner.
Yeah, the Kings really had some great quality chances. Brodeur robbed quite a few Kings in that first period. The Kings might very well have a 2-3 goal lead.
Kings had the great opportunities. They did outshoot the Vancouver Canucks 12-10 in the period, but I thought they had a lot more of the better chances. Bernie Nichols with a couple of opportunities right after Jim Fox's shot went wide of the right goal post. So the Kings have only a 1-0 lead as we get ready to start the second period of action.
Take a look at the first period statistics. The Kings in front on the goal on the power play at 3:47 by Ruskowski. The shots 12 for the Kings and 10 for the Vancouver Canucks. At one point, it was 7-0 for the Kings. Face-offs, the Kings won 11 of 18 on the power play. The Kings were 1 of 2. Canucks have yet to work on the man advantage this evening. Kings, no penalties called by referee Bob Hall against them. The Canucks 2 minors to Hallward for hooking and LeMay for holding. Hallward was in the penalty box when the Kings scored on the power play.
We've got a young man named Dominic Simonton from Buena Park, California, who's been working up here in Vancouver the past 3 weeks. Wants to say hi to his fiancée, Debbie. Also, hello to his mom and dad and brothers, Larry and Jeff, and all his friends at work. Nice of him to stop by tonight. And also a hello to the West Covina Griffins of the National Novice Hockey League from Buzz. He's here tonight to enjoy this game. And Linda and Bill Jovanovic. I want to say hi to their children, Donna, Tony, and Mark. They are watching and listening tonight in Huntington Beach, California. 1-0 Kings. Second period just underway. Vancouver moving from right to left. Here's Peter McNab at center. Puck taken away by the Kings' Redmond. He sends it up to the blue line of the Canucks, and J.J. Daigneault covers up there. Gives it over to Rick Lance. Lance pass up to center. Broken up now by the Kings' Steve Shutt. Shutt gives it now to Ruskowski at center. He sends it over to Redmond. Redmond across the line at the right point. Redmond shoots, blocked down the way in by Daigneault. Daigneault clears it back out to center, and the Kings take over again. Here's Engblom. He gives it to Redmond. Redmond back in the King zone. Back over now to Engblom. Engblom up to Ruskowski at the red line. Here's Terry coming across the line. He gives it to Shutt. Shutt can't go down the left side. It's taken away, and back come the Canucks. Up to center and down the right wing. Molame into the King zone with McNab. Drops it back, and coming back to take it away, Tiger Williams. Williams trying to give it to Ruskowski at center ice. Taken away by Cam Neely. Picked up now by the Canucks. Lance feeds it ahead to Gradine. Gradine into the King zone. Kings ahead 1-0. Pass goes to Molame. LeMay on the right side. He's checked there by Engblom. Puck is back behind the King net, and Darren Elliott falls on it there when he had a little trouble clearing it, and he hangs on for the face-off. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
The award-winning news following the Kings hockey game on your Kings station, KHJ-TV, Channel 9, Los Angeles.
Face-off to the left of the King goaltender Darren Elliott. 18:56 to go in the second period. The Kings have a 1-0 lead. Off the draw, the puck is on the right side. Held in by the Canucks, and a shot deflected off a skate and then to the stick of Darren Elliott. And he cleared it out, and the puck comes up out of play into the crowd with 18:48 to go here in the second period.
That shot right off the draw picked up by right defenseman Michel Patine from along the boards. He looked like he was just trying to dump it in front, deflected, hit somebody in front, and went right on net, and Elliott was forced to react quickly. Gary Galley, one of two rookie defensemen the Kings have employed this year, the other being Craig Redmond, of course, and Gary Galley has had his ups and downs, but he's played some pretty steady hockey as we get set for the playoffs.
Gradine wins the draw. Left point. Hallward with it. Hallward's pass right toward Darren Elliott. He pokes it into the corner. Picked up by Tony Tanti. Tanti for the Canucks. Left wing side. Here's Tanti still with it. Tanti to the blue line to Hallward. Hallward gives it back now on the left side to Skriko. Skriko in the Kings zone. His pass in deep. Going to be taken away by Gary Galley of the Kings. Galley clears it up to the blue line. Here's Dion with it now. Dion left it there for Rick Lapointe. Lapointe stopped at center. Here's Gradine down the left side against Dion. Gradine's pass up the middle, and it goes off the stick. Picked up by Hallward. Hallward walking in. His pass in front. Stopped wide by Skriko.
I think maybe Lapointe got a piece of it as he covered up for goaltender Darren Elliott.
Elliott had come out, and you may be right. We'll have to see if we've got a replay on it, but Skriko was set up right in front by Hallward, and perhaps Rick Lapointe did get his stick on it. Here's Taylor down the right side into the Vancouver zone. Centers in front of Dion, and a save by Brodeur. Dion was all alone in front. Back comes Skriko. Skriko for the Canucks down the right side trying to get around Hardy. Drops it back now for Gradine. Here's Gradine. His pass up in the air and dropped off the glove of Elliott to the side of the net. Taken now by Jim Fox. Kings moving left to right, leading 1-0. Here's Fox up to the red line. Here's Fox across the line, and a penalty coming up behind the play. And I'm not sure who it's on yet. We'll wait and see, and it's going to be roughing called against the Kings. We'll be back in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
And he's going to get 2 minutes for roughing rookie right winger Mike Stevens, who's the younger brother of Scott Stevens with the Washington Capitals. The penalty at 2:21 in the second period.
All right, Vancouver on the power play now with a chance to even the game. It's 1-0 Kings. We're in the second period. Pass up the left side in the Vancouver zone, taken away by Phil Sykes. He gets bumped there by Stan Smeal, but the puck comes back behind the Vancouver net. Sykes and Bob Miller up front to kill the penalty for the Kings, and back on defense, the Kings have Hardy and the rookie Ken Hammond. Now up to center. Here's Smeal for Vancouver. Gets it on the left side. Into the King zone. Jean-Marc Lanthier. Lanthier against the left wing boards. He is bumped there by Hardy. Puck taken by the Canucks. Here's Smeal. Smeal to Lanthier. Left side King zone. Lanthier up the middle to the blue line to Daigneault. Shooting, save, rebound, just shot wide by Lanthier. Lanthier picks it up, back to the right point. Held in by Rick Lands. He shoots, tipped over the net by Smeel. Smeel with it again. Checked in the corner by Hammond. Hammond takes it away, gives it to Sykes. He can't clear it. Right point, Lands holds it in. Lands over to Daigneault. Daigneault goes back toward the right point. Daigneault down the right side, in the middle to Lanthier, and he's banned on his shot. And Sykes can't clear it again. It's held in. Here's Lupul with it. Lupul left side. He shoots, blocked by Hardy. Lupul again, can't get to it. Canucks hold it in. Smeel gives it on the left side to Lanthier. Kings a man short, up the middle to the blue line to Rick Lands. Lands fakes a shot, pass right side. Daigneault with a drive, and it's wide to the left side. And sliding way out was Elliott. Puck is held in again by Lands. Kings can't clear it out. Here's Smeel. Smeel to the left point, gives it to Lupul, back to Smeel. Fakes a shot, top of the slot. Now up the middle it goes to Daigneault. Daigneault shoots, scores! Tipped in front by Jean-Marc Lanthier. Number 28, Lanthier tipped it in for a power play goal. And the game is tied at 1-1.
Well, the Kings had a couple of opportunities, but they just could not find the openings to clear it out. Shot taken from the point just inside the blue line, deflected beautifully about 10 feet in front of Elliott by Lanthier at 3:51 on the power play. The Vancouver Canucks have tied it up here early in the second period. So each club with a power play goal, 16:09 now left in the period. Lanthier spent most of this season in the minor leagues. And on the season for Lanthier, his 6th goal in this is 26th game.
Now the Canucks with it again to the King line, taken away by Jim Fox. Fox passing over on the left side, and Ruskowski brings it up to center. Here's Roscoe passing ahead to Bernie Nichols. Nichols tips it down the left side into the Vancouver zone. Game tied 1-1, second period. Fox with it there. Fox in the corner. Pass up the middle of the blue line to Engblom. His pass up the middle. Ruskowski can't get it. Now he picks it up, and his pass to the blue line intercepted. Canucks have a 3-on-2. Here comes McNab across the line. McNab down the middle. McNab in front. Now to Neely shooting, and he shot it wide. Rebound is back behind the net. Neely tries to dig it out. It's at the side of the net now. Engblom goes forward, and Fox finally picks it up. Fox clears it ahead to Ruskowski. Back on the right side to Bernie Nichols. Nichols to the Vancouver line. Nichols to the right side, and offside go the Kings. 15-16 to go in the second period. 1-1 tie, back in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
6 from Daigneault, who took the original shot at the point, and also Stan Smeel.
1-1 tie. Kings send it into the Vancouver zone, back behind the net. Elliott stops it there. Puck is picked up by Doug Lidster. Lidster's pass over to Garth Butcher. Butcher for Vancouver, ahead to Petri Strico. He comes to the King line. They call him Peter. Sends it down into the King zone, and back to get it now, Gary Galley. Galley tried to pass to Dion, taken away by Tanty. Tanty behind the King net, tried to roll it out in front, and diving on the loose puck is Darren Elliott.
Tony Tanty picked up that loose puck, skated behind the net, dumped it in front, but Gradine was being tied up, and I think the puck may have deflected off his skate. It almost slipped by Elliott on his stick side, low right corner. Tony Tanty, as Bob mentioned in the pregame report, if he gets 2 goals total tonight and tomorrow when Vancouver closes out their regular season in Los Angeles, he'll become the first Vancouver player to ever record back-to-back 40-plus goal seasons. He led the team last year, set a club record with 45 goals.
2 more King fans here tonight. John Simbel from Pomona and Ed Miller from Roland Heights want to say hi to all their friends back home. 14:50 left to go in the second period. 1-1 tie. Off the draw, the puck comes around on the right wing side to Anders Hawkinson. Up to center to J.P. Kelly. Kelly is bumped right in front of the King bench. Puck is taken by the Canucks. Back they come to center. Jerry Gillis with it. Gillis leads it ahead to Al McAdam. McAdam down the right side. His pass to Lanthier, who headed for the net, was broken up. Now the puck taken by the Kings. Hawkinson's pass along the left wing boards comes loose again to Lanthier. Right side, King zone. Lanthier still with it. Lanthier up the middle to the blue line to Butcher. Shooting, and it's caught in the glove of Darren Elliott. And the King goaltender hangs on for another face-off.
Well, the Kings in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game in the first period had the pressure on Richard Brodeur, and here at the outset of period 2, it's been all Vancouver Canucks. Pat Quinn obviously not pleased with the turnabout in this game. The Vancouver Canucks 5-1. They've outshot the Kings, outscored them 1-0, and we played 5.5 minutes in the second.
Bob Miller on the draw with Lanthier in the King zone. Miller wins the draw, and
right off the draw, Jimmy Christensen, I think, got clipped with a stick.
The linesman Christensen holding his mouth and over to see if he's all right. Ron Foyt and the referee Bob Hall. Jim Christensen, formerly from down the San Diego area, now living in Portland, Oregon. And apparently he's all right. They're going to face off again. I want to mention that I was over the other day in the San Gabriel Valley at Santa Anita Fashion Park to meet a lot of the Kings fans over there. Very nice of all of you to come up and say hello and chat about Kings hockey. And I also want to thank Ronnie Van Gompel and the senior Los Angeles Kings for a very nice plaque that they presented to me as the senior Kings won their tournament recently. This game, with a score tied 1-1, is coming to you live from Vancouver, British Columbia. Kings hockey being brought to you by your Toyota dealer and Toyota's all-new 4Runner, the versatile four-wheel drive vehicle. And brought to you by Mark C. Bloom. You can't choose the right tire if you don't have a choice. That's Mark C. Bloom. Kings with it. Here's Ken Hammond down the left side. Rolls it in front of the net. Poked away by the goaltender Brodeur. Canucks with it. Back they come now. Here's Gillis across the King line. Offside. Lupul on the right wing. And he is upset at the call.
Well, he should be, because he blew a 2-on-1 opportunity and a scoring chance for his hockey club. Lupul was well ahead of the play. He was straddling the blue line right next to linesman Christensen along the far boards, and he was trying to anticipate when the puck would go over, and he just hopped over a stride before the puck went in the zone. Gary Lupul, real fan favorite the last few years here. Great skater, works very hard, kills penalties well.
Signed as a free agent back in 1979. Now the face-off, kicked by Lupul back at center ice and taken by the Canucks' Rick Lance. His pass to the King line, broken up by Ken Hammond. Here's Hammond up the center. Game tied 1-1. Drives it down the right side into the Vancouver zone, and in to get it is Daigneault. Looked like he caught his skate in a rut, maybe, went hard into the boards. Puck is cleared back out to center. Kings' Mark Hardy has it to the red line. Hardy flips it up in the air. It's taken away by Lupul. Lupul back down the right side into the King zone. Lupul in deep. Drops it off to Smeel. Right wing. Smeel back up the middle to Lance. Lance shoots and deflected up into the crowd.
I don't know if that hit the top of the glove of Elliott or the top of the crossbar, but the Vancouver Canucks, like the Kings did early in the game, getting good penetration. They're working the puck back on the points. The shot taken by Lance as he was set up from the corner. A pass from Stan Smeel. Rick Lance letting one go from 50 feet.
Remember, playoff tickets still available now. The playoffs at the Forum will be April 13th. That's a Saturday night, a week from tomorrow night for sure. And then if another game is needed in that best 3 out of 5, it will be Sunday, April 14th. Tickets available, Forum box office. You can buy strip tickets and the individual game tickets. And at Ticketron, you can buy individual game tickets only. And some of them are still available at those 2 locations for the playoffs against Wayne Gretzky and the Stanley Cup champion Edmonton Oilers. The Canucks win the draw at the right point. A shot and tipped up off the stick of Darren Elliott. Now centered back to the right side to Petit, who got the original shot, but he can't hold it in. Comes all the way back to his own line. Now Petit to Lupul. 1-1 tie. Second period. Here's Lupul. Shooting. Safe. Rebound. Gathered in and covered up by Darren Elliott. And a face-off coming up now is Mike Stevens of Vancouver. Number 33 was trying to get to that loose puck. Gary Lupul coming off the ice now with 13:12 to go in the second period. We are tied 1-1. The Kings goal by Terry Ruskowski on the power play, and Jean-Marc Lanthier on a power play for Vancouver has tied it up.
Well, one linesman, Ron Foyt, checking the other, Jim Christensen, who was clipped with a stick a few moments ago, but he's hanging in there. Canucks allowed to go into the zone freely here the last few shifts, and they're, again, really pressuring goaltender Darren Elliott.
McNab wins the draw, and a shot by Neely is over the net. Puck comes up on the right side. Kings with it. Here's Fox. Can't clear it out of the zone, but now without a stick, Sykes tried to clear it. It's taken away by Moldame. Sykes' stick is broken, and on the ice, puck comes down to the right point. Held in there by Michel Petit. He gives it to Cam Neely. Neely sends it around on the right side. It's picked up by Jim Fox. Fox for the Kings, up to center ice. His pass to the Vancouver line, broken up. Fox gets it again at center ice. He gives it back to Engblom. Engblom gives it to Sykes, who's got a new stick. He gives it to Redmond. Here's Redmond, right in front of the Vancouver bench. Now to the red line, his backhand pass broken up by Hallward. Hallward down the left side, fires it into the Kings zone. 12.5 minutes to go in the second period. Bob Miller with Nick Nixon. The game is tied 1-1. Puck is taken by the Kings. Bernie Nichols. Nichols feeds it around the right side to Fox. Fox didn't clear it. Held in by Hallward. Hallward's pass in the middle to Neely. Neely, right side. Neely passes back over to LeMay, and he's pulled down by Redmond, and a penalty to Redmond. Penalty against the Kings. A delayed call. They get the goaltender out. Vancouver with a backhander. Blocked into the corner by Redmond. Oh, and a whistle. He should never have blown the whistle there. The Kings did not control the puck, and the fans are upset, and so is Vancouver, and they should be. Pass was blocked. And the whistle should not have been blown, but it was. We'll be back in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Draws a penalty. Craig Redmond for tripping up Mo LeMay as he reached for that cross-ice feed from Cam Neely. And then we got the whistle. 7:50, the time of the penalty. Canucks in the power play for the second time. Their goal earlier this period was on the man advantage.
All right, Gradine will take the draw, but Darren Elliott has something on his skate blade that he wants to take care of first. I want to remind you, next Wednesday and Thursday when the playoffs begin, you'll hear them and see them live on KGIL Radio and Channel 9 Television, 6:20 live. Here's Petit walking down the left side, and he goes in deep against the left wing boards. Checked there by Miller. Puck comes down the left wing corner, taken by Tony Tanti. Tanti in the King zone, gives it to Skriko. Skriko against the boards, he waits there. Vancouver with a power play, trying to take the lead. Pass by Tanti, broken up. It went right in the top of the slot to Anders Hawkinson. Hawkinson with Bob Miller comes into the Vancouver zone. Hawkinson against the right wing boards, drives it in deep. Back behind the net, taken there by Doug Hallward, former Los Angeles King player. Hallward starts out now with 11:37 to go in the second period. 1-1 tie. Vancouver on the power play, and down the right side is Skriko. Skriko stops against the right wing boards, gets it in now to Thomas Gradine. Gradine in the right circle into Skriko. Skriko comes back again. Up the middle it goes to Hallward. He shoots, deflected in front, loose, puck taken by the Kings. Picked up now by Hawkinson, and he clears it off the boards back down into the Vancouver zone.
Well, ever since the Vancouver Canucks have been in the league, they like to work the puck back on the points on the power play, and they're doing it right here.
There's Hallward. He comes across the line, sends it into the King zone, and back to get it, and plays it off the glass, and back into the Vancouver zone is Rick LaPointe. Kings up front have Sykes along with Terry Ruskowski. Engblom and Hardy are back on defense now with 43 seconds left to go in the Vancouver power play. Penalty is to Craig Redmond. Pass down the left side. Here's Daniel cutting in. Hardy cuts him off against the left wing side. Daniel still with it for Vancouver. Up the middle to Lupul. Lupul back to Daniel with the left point. Daniel to Lupul. Lupul shoots wide to the right side. Rebound over to the right side, held in by Michel Petit. Into Lanthier. He gives it to Smeal. Smeal on the right side. Up the middle it goes again to Petit. His shot blocked by Sykes, and he can't clear it. Held in by Petit. Over to Smeal. Up the middle to Daniel. Daniel shoots wide to the right side. Rebound to Sykes. He clears it into the Vancouver zone. 10 seconds left to go in the penalty to Redmond. 1-1 tie. 10:15 to go in the second period. Back come the Canucks now. Here's Daniel. Daniel's pass to Lupul. Lupul into the King zone. Gives it back to Lanthier. Power play is over. Lanthier, left wing side. Back to the left point to Daniel. Pass on the right side. Tipped away by Engblom. Up in the air. Falls down at the skates of Phil Sykes, and he drives it back down into the Vancouver zone, and it caroms right on target, and Brodeur makes the stop. 9:53 to go. We're in the second period. Bob Miller with Nick Nixon. Here's Mike Stevens, the rookie, down the right wing into the King zone. Stevens still with it. Stevens drops it over on the right side. A shot is blocked there. Shot by Jerry Gillis. Puck comes down to the right point. Lance holds it in. He shoots wide to the right side. Puck comes over to Marcel Dion. Here's Dion with it. Still needs one assist now to pass Phil Esposito into third on the all-time NHL assist list. They changed that one the other night that he supposedly got against Edmonton, and they gave it to Fox. Puck is driven now back down into the King zone, taken by Hardy. Hardy passing up the left side, off the boards, out of the reach of McClellan. 9:19 to go, second period. Pass back into the King zone, and an offside called against the Vancouver Canucks. This game, with the score tied 1-1 in the second period, is coming to you live from the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, British Columbia. Kings Hockey is being brought to you by Stroh's, America's only fire-brewed beer. Fire-brewed for a smoother taste. That's Stroh's and Stroh Light.
Game is tied up at 1. Ruskowski and Lanthier trading power play goals, but the Kings have had very little pressure on goaltender Richard Brodeur, and we played 11 minutes in the second period. The forwards have to start putting some pressure on.
Kings credited with only one shot on goal so far here in this period, and we've played over 10 minutes. Here is Taylor. He gives it to McClellan across the line to Dion. Left side, Dion shoots, and a save by Brodeur. A glove save, and he hangs on for the face-off. Boy, Richard Brodeur was supposedly in the doghouse, didn't get along with Bill LaForge, their coach, the start of this year. And when LaForge went, they brought Brodeur back. And I'll tell you, had the Canucks not gotten off to that bad start, Nick, the Kings would have been in a battle for that final playoff spot.
Right in the first half, the Canucks were 9 wins, 26 losses, and 5 ties. Second half, they're just 3 games under 500.
Puck is back behind the Vancouver net now. They're moving right to left as you join us on radio and TV. Tomorrow night, radio only at 7:20 on KGIL and K-Wave FM 108. Kings and the Canucks again, and that'll end the regular season tomorrow night. Kings with it across the Vancouver line. Dion drives it in deep. Brodeur gives it to Lidster. Here's Lidster passing up the right side over the head of Neely out to center ice. Taken away by Rick LaPointe. LaPointe and Galley back in defense. Galley gives it to McClellan. Mack had it tipped off his stick by Lidster. Taken now by LaPointe. He fires it back to the Vancouver zone. Puck comes around the right side to Dave Taylor. Game tied 1-1. Taylor gives it over to Dion, out of his reach. Taken away by Neely. Neely up the center. Neely with McNab. Neely fires it down into the King zone. Left wing side, chased in by Mo LeMay. LeMay going in deep. Goes behind the net. Chases the loose puck, but it comes around to Dion. Dion's pass tipped away by LeMay. Picked up now by McClellan. He fires at the length of the ice, and the Kings will be called for icing here. With a game tied 1-1. We'll be back in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network. Bob Janecyk, spare goaltender tonight. Hopes his wife Jill and little Bob Jr. enjoying the game back in Los Angeles, and hope all of you are. If you're watching on Channel 9 tonight or listening on KGIL. 1-1 tie with less than 8 minutes to go in the second period. Here's Jim Fox with it. He sends it up the center off the stick of Doug Hallward and is picked up now by Thomas Gradin. Gradin back in his own zone, drops it off there. Hallward sends it up the center and down the left side. It comes all the way down into the Kings zone. This is going to be icing, as getting back to touch it for the Kings is Ken Hammond, and the face-off will come back down into the Vancouver zone.
Well, it's been a very quiet period for the Los Angeles Kings. Lackluster, very little emotion being showed out there by the Kings. Again, the game means nothing as far as standings as the regular season winds down, but the Kings have to get something going as they approach the defending Stanley Cup champs in the playoffs next week. First two games in Edmonton, but second period has been kind of a sleeper for the Kings.
Face off to the left of Richard Brodeur. 1-1 tie, and off the draw, the Canucks control it, and Hallward circles his own net. 7:37 left to go. We're in the second period. 1-1 tie. Here's Hallward. Back across the line. Can't get around Nichols. Nichols takes it away. Sends it up the right side on the reach of Fox. Broken up by Petit to Tanti. Now it rolls away, and Striko is tackled and dragged down in the Vancouver zone by Nichols. Vancouver with it. Up comes Petit, passing to Gradin. Gradin down the left side. Gradin in the King zone. Gradin is checked against the boards there by Hardy, and he clears it back out to center. Picked up by J.J. Daigneault. Daigneault flips it back into the King zone, and Ken Hammond fires it back up to Nichols at center. Here's Nichols down the left wing with Fox. Nichols crisscrosses, comes to the right side, gets knocked down, holds the puck in, drives it in deep. Sykes goes for it. Sykes is taken out of the play in the corner, and the puck is taken by Daigneault. Can't clear it. Kings with it. Nichols up the middle now to Redmond. Redmond sends it down the right side. Vancouver zone. Redmond's pass behind the net, taken away by Vancouver's Thomas Gradin. Here comes Gradin as the Canucks move right to left. Gradin to the red line. Now down the right side into the King zone against Hammond. And Hammond cuts him off in the corner. Gradin's pass goes to Striko. He's around the left wing side in the King zone. His pass in deep, going to be taken away by Jim Fox. 6.5 minutes left to go in the second period. 1-1. Game number 79 of the year for both of these teams. Here's Hammond at center, drives it into the Vancouver zone, steered behind the net by Brodeur, picked up by Daigneault. He gives it up to Stan Smeel. Smeel ahead to Lupul at center. Lupul can't hang on to it there, taken away by the Kings. Hawkinson to Kelly, now back to Engblom in the King zone. Engblom sends it to Redmond. Redmond's cross-ice pass, tipped up the center now to Bob Miller. Miller to the Vancouver line. Miller across the line, shoots, deflected wide. Rebound is picked up by Daigneault. Miller takes it away. Miller, right wing corner. He's bumped there by Daigneault. Miller battles for it again. Daigneault digs it out for Vancouver. He feeds it ahead to Mike Stevens. He gave it away to Bob Miller. Miller up the middle to Redmond. Redmond gives it on the left side, but off the boards. Hawkinson couldn't get it. Comes into J.P. Kelly. His pass up the middle. Hawkinson with it, shooting. Blocked in front by Daigneault, and he clears it up on the right side to Smeel. Here's Smeel down the right wing against Engblom. Smeel's shot deflected up in the air. It comes into the right wing corner. Redmond over to help out. Now Bob Miller there for the Kings, and Miller takes it. 5.5 minutes to go. Second period. Bob Miller with Nick Nixon. A 1-1 tie. Here's Engblom giving it on the left side to Miller into the Vancouver zone. His shot save, and then it dropped off the glove of Brodeur. Puck is cleared up the center by the Canucks. Smeel with it in front of the King bench. He's bumped there, and the puck now in front of the Vancouver bench, taken by Lupul. Here's Lupul across the King line, and on the left side, he fires it in deep. It comes around to Garth Butcher. Butcher on the right side. Butcher holds it in, sends it behind the net, taken by Gary Galley, and he skated by it there. Puck is picked up now as Tiger Williams got knocked down. Here's Neely shooting, and a stick save by Elliott. Puck comes over on the left side, picked up by Ruskowski. Here's Terry. He's got the King goal tonight. He comes up across the blue line, now to the red line. Ruskowski down the right side into the Vancouver zone. Roscoe stops and falls down as he tried to turn against the right wing boards. Got a penalty behind the play against the King. Puck is picked up by the Canucks. Lidster cutting in. His pass right through the slot. Picked up by Neely. In front of McNab, and went behind him. Here's Gradin with it. Gradin down the left side. A penalty against the Kings. A delayed call, and finally the Kings get it. And high sticking is going to be the call. I think they're going to get Tiger Williams. 1-1 tie. We'll be back in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Dave Tiger Williams, a penalty for high sticking in front of goaltender Richard Brodeur as the Canucks were clearing the puck out of their zone. So 3 penalties this period, all to the Kings. Part of the reason why the Kings have had very little sustained momentum. Williams off at 15:30.
Biggest roar of the night when Tiger got the penalty. I think Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver vie for the quietest crowds in the NHL, and I don't know who you'd give it to, but I'll tell you, this crowd tonight, not that they've had a lot to roar about, but now here's Petit with it at the left point. His pass up, knocked down in the slot. Gradin tried to get it. It's still loose. Shot by Tanti and a save by Darren Elliott. Tanti dug it out and got the shot from the slot, and Elliott made the save, and the puck came up into the crowd. 4:19 to go in the second period. Game tied 1-1 in Vancouver with 1:49 left to go in their power play.
Well, Tony Tanti worked that puck out of a maze of legs and took a quick wrist shot. He's got an accurate shot, as you might expect. 45 goals last year, 38 this year. Tony Tanti, a right winger who shoots left.
Face off to the left of Darren Elliott. Bob Miller is out for the Kings along with Phil Sykes. They're up front to kill the penalty. Rick LaPointe and Gary Galley back and on the draw with Gradin. Bob Miller wins the draw into Rick LaPointe. He's bothered in the right wing corner by Tony Tanti. Now he's triple teamed. The puck comes loose and held in now on the right side by Skriko. Skriko for Vancouver. Canucks trying to take the lead. Up the middle it goes to Hallward. He shoots. Saved by Elliott. Good glove save. As skating by right in front of him was Tony Tanti trying to either screen him or deflect it in, and Darren Elliott made the save.
Well, the Canucks getting a lot of power play shots from the top of the slot from the point man. 2 forwards were right in front of Darren Elliott, but Elliott saw that shot all the way, it seems, as he gloved it and held on. Good thing, because 2 Canucks who were camped out in front were just hovering for a rebound.
4:04 left to go here in this second period. Shot from the left point by Petit is wide. Held in by Hallward on the right side. Hallward sends it high in the air, and it is held against the boards by Rick LaPointe. He doesn't know where it is. And now it bounces down, and the Kings have it. Here is Sykes on the left side. He skates it up to center ice and then flips it down into the Vancouver zone. 1:12 left to go on the penalty to Tiger Williams. The game is tied 1-1. We're in the second period. Vancouver with it. They move out of their own zone. Here's Hallward. He gives it to Skriko. Skriko across the line. Gives it to Tanti. Tanti on the right side. Tanti still with it. Tanti up the middle to Hallward. Hallward top of the slot. Hallward goes to the left point. Hallward shot and a save in the glove of Darren Elliott, and he hangs on again.
Well, we'd like to remind all of you Kings fans listening, it's been a great season for the Kings, a big improvement over the past couple of years, and why not get on board for next year with Kings season seats? Get a head start on everyone else. For information, call right now at 412-5000. That's 412-5000 for information on Kings season seats for the 85-86 season.
Kings have scored coming into the game tonight 31 more goals than a year ago, and they have cut their goals against by 50 coming into the game tonight. Puck taken out of the Vancouver line now by Daigneault with 43 seconds left to go on the penalty to Tiger Williams. Puck taken by Jean-Marc Lanthier. Drives it around the boards to Stan Smeal in the King zone. Now to Daigneault. Now up the middle to Lupul. Now to the right side to Lands. Lands shoots wide to the right. Rebound out to the left point to Daigneault. Daigneault with the power play for another 27 seconds. Daigneault motions now at the left point. Now he shoots. It's blocked into the corner by Hawkinson. Ruskowski clears it back into the Vancouver zone. Roscoe will be Nick's guest at the end of this period. Puck comes back to the King line. Again, Ruskowski with it. Terry back in the King zone. He goes in deep, passes behind the net over to Engblom. Engblom takes it off the boards and can't clear it. Held in at the right point by Lands. To Lupul. Lupul back to Lands. Tipped out to center. Here's Ruskowski. Tripped and a penalty. Delayed penalty coming up. Pass over the right side. Picked up by Hardy across the line. Vancouver zone. Hardy in the slot. Hardy over to Ruskowski. Shoots and a save and covering up. And the puck went behind the net, and now Lands gets upset. Now Ruskowski comes in. He bumps into Lands. Tiger had come out of the penalty box, and he got bumped behind the net. Now we've got Ruskowski and Lands upset with each other. But the delayed call was against the Vancouver Canucks as Ruskowski got knocked down. Now he and Lands behind the net being separated by Ron Floyd and Jim Christensen. 2:22 left to go in the second period. And the game is tied at 1-1. And we'll have the penalties coming up here. I want to remind you, next Wednesday and Thursday, the playoffs at Edmonton, live at 6:20 on KGIL Radio, 1260 on the AM dial and Channel 9 television. Brodeur had, I thought, stopped it Then it came loose. Tiger Williams and Lands bumped into each other, and Lands took a right-hand half-hearted punch at Williams, and that's when the King captain Terry Ruskowski came in and got all upset with Lands. We'll get the PA announcement on the penalties for you here in just a moment. Lands is in the penalty box. There was a delayed call already coming against Vancouver. Now, Lands could have gotten another one for roughing, and he may get a double minor here, and one of the Kings is going to get a minor.
Los Angeles penalty to number 8, Terry Ruskowski, 2 minutes for roughing. Vancouver penalty to number 4, Rick Lands, 2 minutes for tripping and 2 minutes for roughing at 17:38.
All right, that's exactly what happens. Lands gets the double minor. This game is coming to you live from Vancouver, British Columbia. Kings Hockey being brought to you by your Toyota dealer and the reliable and inexpensive Tercel 3-door SR5. It's now at your local Toyota dealer. And by Mark C. Bloom. You can't choose the right tire if you don't have a choice. That's Mark C. Bloom. So the Lands in the penalty box, and the delayed penalty was called as Ruskowski tipped it away, and then he got tripped from behind by Lands, so that was the first minor on Lands. Then he gets another 2 for roughing, and Ruskowski came in, and he got 2 minutes for roughing with Lands. So each team is shy a man, and in 2 minutes, the Kings will get Ruskowski out and have the power play. Game tied 1-1. We have only 2:22 to go here in the second period. Puck is faced off to the right of Brodeur, taken in deep now by the Vancouver Canucks, and around the right side, Garth Butcher passing up over on the left side to Lidster. Each team is a man short. Lidster drives it off the boards into the Kings zone. Darren Elliott leaves it behind the net for Engblom. Engblom checked in the left wing corner. He gets it from Taylor. Taylor out with Dion now. Here's Taylor coming up across the line with Redmond. He gives it to Redmond. Redmond down the left side into the Vancouver zone. Redmond stops against the left wing board. Still has it. Comes down to the blue line. Now Redmond still with it. Off to the right side. Redmond still with it. Checked against the right wing boards. Knocked down, and the puck comes out to center ice. Dion back to get it. He gives it over now to Engblom. Now back to Dion. Each team is a man short for another minute 20. Dion to Redmond. Now to Taylor. Taylor across the line. Drops it for Redmond in the slot. His shot deflects into the corner. Going forward is Taylor. He's double teamed there. Butcher took it away. Now Dion over. He gets checked. Back comes Vancouver to center. 2-on-2. Engblom and Redmond back. Here's Gradane. Now it's a 3-on-2 up the middle, and a shot saved by Elliott. Rebound Tandy shooting and a save. First shot was by Lidster. Lidster with it again in front of Tandy. A backhander up into the crowd from right in the slot. So the Canucks with a couple of good chances there, but they can't put it in, and it's still 1-1 with 1:17 to go. Lidster came down the middle. He got a shot. The save by Darren Elliott, but he couldn't control a rebound. Then Tandy with a shot, saved by Elliott. Then looked like the Kings might control it, but the Canucks held it in again, but Tandy's shot deflected up into the crowd. 1:17 to go here in the second period. Nick has gone downstairs. He'll be talking with King captain Terry Ruskowski, and we'll replay the deciding game of that playoff series 3 years ago between the Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. Puck is taken by the Kings in their own zone. Here's Hardy. Each team is shy a man. Hardy gives it up to Bob Miller on the right side. He can't control it. Taken away at center ice by Hallward. Now the Canucks fire it back down into the Kings zone. Back behind the net. Stopped there by Darren Elliott. His pass along the boards comes up to Bob Miller. Miller sweeps it up to the King line with 1 minute left to go in the second period. Sykes tried to drop it back to Miller. Taken away from behind him by Mo LeMay. LeMay shoots, and it's wide to the right side. Tried to go the long side and just missed the right-hand goalpost. Puck is all the way back into the Vancouver zone now. Here's Sykes with it. Sykes gives it to Miller. Up the middle to Hardy. He shoots, and a save by Brodeur, and he covers up. Hardy's shot went up high and hit Brodeur in the chest. Then he covered up on the rebound, and look out now. We've got Bob Miller in there for the Kings, upset with one of the Vancouver Canucks. 39 seconds left to go here in this second period. Game tied 1-1. 17 seconds left to go in the penalty to Terry Ruskowski. Brodeur made the save when it hit him in the chest, and then he covered it up. Goals tonight, first period, Kings. Power play goal credited to Terry Ruskowski, his 15th from Engblom and Redmond at 3:47. That made it 1-0. That was the score at the end of 1. Here in the second period, a power play goal for Vancouver. Jean-Marc Lanthier getting his 6th from J.J. Daigneault and Stan Smeal at 3:51. We are tied at 1-1. Face-off will be to the right of Richard Brodeur with only 39 seconds left to go in the second period. Lupul will face off against the Kings' Bernie Nichols. Nichols out with Fox, Redmond, and Engblom, and off the draw, the Canucks have it back behind their own net. It is cleared up to center now to Lupul. Here's Lupul against Engblom. Lupul shoots from the left point, and it's deflected wide by Elliott. Elliott clears it off the boards against the left wing side. Lupul holds it in again. 1 second to go, and the Kings will be back at full strength. Now the Kings have the power play, and the pass comes up on the right side. Petit holds it in. 16 seconds to go in the period. Petit sends it behind the King net, taken away there by Engblom. Game tied 1-1. Here comes Engblom. Kings moving left to right. He checks the clock. 9 seconds left to go in the period from the red line. Engblom with a drive and a high rising shot off the glove of the goaltender Brodeur. Hallward tried to clear it, couldn't do it, and time runs out. And when the next period begins, the third period, the Kings will have 1:38 left to go on their power play. And at the end of 2 periods here at Vancouver, the score, the Los Angeles Kings won, and the Vancouver Canucks won. And we'll be going downstairs in 2 minutes, and Nick will be talking live with the King captain, Terry Ruskowski. We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Periods from the...
Terry Ruskowski. We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Periods from the Pacific Coliseum, 1-1, Vancouver and the Kings. The Kings goal, Terry Ruskowski on a deflection on the power play in the first period. Lanthier deflecting one on the power play for the Canucks early in the second period. And Kings captain and goal scorer tonight, Terry Ruskowski, has joined us between periods. Terry, let's talk about that second period first. Just 4 shots on goal for the Kings, and it appeared they showed a little bit more emotion towards the end, but the Kings certainly have to put more consistent play together.
Well, Nick, let's not talk about it, all right? It was kind of a period. We didn't have a very good first period, so we thought, go out there in the second period. And guys seemed to be up in the dressing room, but we went out there, didn't seem to have it. They came out, and I think they played the body on us more, and we weren't freewheeling as we did the first period. They were more aggressive. They were out there playing hard, and we kind of let down, and we were a little flat. Then they got that shorthand, or the power play goal, and what can you say about deflection is deflection. It's hard to stop any kind of deflections, and we try to rebound off of that, and we have a penalty or a power play going into this third period, so hopefully we can benefit from that.
Towards the end of the second period, you and Tiger Williams, who had just come out of the penalty box, involved in a little scuffle. Maybe you can replay just exactly what went on.
Well, there was a penalty being called already, and Dave went and hit Lance, and they started pushing around. Then Schmiel went in there, and Lance gave him a left. So I thought I'd go in there and help Tiger a little bit, even though he doesn't need it too much. But 2 against 1's not the right odds, I don't think. So I like to help my teammates as much as possible, and I go in there and try to even things up.
Terry, we mentioned when Tiger was acquired by the Kings a few weeks ago that in junior hockey you played with him for a couple of years. Tell us about that line that you had.
What a line.
Where do you hear this?
The cross-bam line. Dave really started out as a defenseman, and we went to Swift Current where we played junior. He changed to wing, and he played left wing with me for 2.5 years. And he was my left side, and my right side was Ron DeLorme that plays for Vancouver now, which he had knee surgery this winter. And we had a pretty physical line, and we ended up pretty good that season in points, and we went to the second round of the playoffs, which Swift Current didn't go real far that year, or the years before. And it was good knowing that you never got attacked from the back, or everybody outpointed you, because there's always guys in there to help you out, and they're 2 tough boys, and they came to play hockey every night, and it was always look forward to playing with them.
Well, guys who play like that game after game, it's no wonder all 3 of you are still around in the National Hockey League. Your careers are working on the better part of 10 years. Terry, the playoffs start with Edmonton next Wednesday, the first 2 games up there. From a captain's standpoint, are you doing anything different to try and get the team mentally and physically prepared?
Well, each game we play now, we want to make this a stepping stone to the playoffs. We're working individual things in the game to improve our game. And we do it in practice, and we're trying to do it in the games tonight and tomorrow night also. And then the other 2 days we have practice and try to work on things that we're weak on earlier in the season, which other teams are capitalizing on. Edmonton is a tough team, and a lot of young kids, and the guys that didn't make the playoffs too many times, they get to get too tensed up. They get anxious and nervous and tense, and it takes away from their game. So I think one of my jobs is to go out there and maybe crack a couple jokes and keep guys loose, and loose enough to where they feel comfortable playing. And as long as we're mentally into the game, I think we're physically ready for them, but we got to get mentally prepared for them. And if we're too tight, I think it takes away from part of our game.
Terry, thanks for the chat. Good luck.
Thanks, Nick. I hope we can do better in the third period and pull out a win for the Los Angeles Kings.
Terry Ruskowski, who has the Kings goal, 1-1 after 2 periods. One other game tonight after 1 period, Edmonton 3-1 over Calgary. We'll be right back with more in 2 minutes. This is Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Bob Miller along with Nick Nixon back here at the Pacific Coliseum. The game is tied 1-1 with only one period left to go in the Kings' final road game of the regular season. The Kings' first appearance in the playoffs in 3 years is going to take place next week against the Edmonton Oilers. They'll start out in Edmonton with 2 games there and then move to Los Angeles. As we said, the two teams met 3 years ago. The teams split the first 4 games. The Kings won 2, the Oilers won 2, and the 5th and deciding game was played back in Edmonton. And here's what happened.
Oilers won the next game to even the series at 2 games each and send the deciding game back to Edmonton. The Oilers fans were ready, but so were the Kings. Charlie Simmer scored the game's first 2 goals. Gretzky got one back for Edmonton. Then, rookie Darrell Evans scored his 5th goal of the series, and the Kings led 3-1. In the second period, with Lassard turning away the Oilers, the Kings increased their lead.
Taken by Gretzky, left wing corner to Anderson. In front, he shoots. Saved by Lassard. Rebound up the middle, Kings with it. Oh, Lassard has come up with some big saves tonight. Here's Evans giving it to Dion, right side. He shoots. He scores!
The replay shows the Kings had found a weakness, the glove hand of Grant Fuhr, a weakness Bernie Nichols picked on a few minutes later.
Shelton is passed over by Jimmy Fox. He's got Nichols ahead. Nichols all alone. Nichols in front. He shoots. He scores! Through the pumpernickel, Bernie! Yeah!
Danny Bonner scored the final 2 goals for the Kings to make it 7-2 on the way to a rout of the Oilers on their home ice. While the Kings cheered, the Oilers looked on in stunned disbelief.
4 seconds to go in the Oilers season. It's going to be all over. The Kings win it!
The Kings set or tied 13 club playoff records. They had pulled the upset of the playoffs.
Well, that was certainly an exciting series and a great win for the Los Angeles Kings over the Edmonton Oilers. Next Wednesday and Thursday, the same 2 teams meet again in Edmonton, and you'll hear and see the game live on KGIL. 1260 on the AM dial and Channel 9 television will be on the air Wednesday and Thursday night at 6:20. A week from tomorrow night, Saturday in Los Angeles, and a week from this Sunday in Los Angeles if a 4th game in that best 3 out of 5 series is needed, and there still are tickets available. We have mentioned during this year about a new statistic in the league called the Stroh's Power Ratings, and we're coming right down to the final weekend of the season, and the Kings are still battling the Buffalo Sabres for the overall championship in the Stroh's Power Ratings. Now, the winner in each division gets $25,000. The overall winner gets an extra $100,000. And the way the Stroh's Power Ratings look coming into the game tonight, this is where you take your power play goals scored and your power play goals against, your shorthand or power play goals and shorthanded goals scored, power play goals against and shorthanded goals against, and you have a net figure. So coming into the game tonight, the Kings had 85 power play goals. They had 9 shorthanded goals for a total of 94. The Kings had 52 power play goals against, 12 shorthanded goals against for a total of 64, and the net difference there is 30. The Buffalo Sabres, they have 74 power play goals, 9 shorthanded goals for a total of 83. They gave up 51 power play goals. They have allowed 4 shorthanded goals for a total of 55, and the net total is 28. Now, the Kings tonight have a power play goal. That gave them 1 more point ahead of Buffalo, but then they gave up a power play goal. So right now the Kings still 2 points ahead of Buffalo in that Stroh's Power Ratings battle. The Kings and the Vancouver Canucks are all tied up here at the end of 2 periods at the Pacific Coliseum, 1-1. And we'll be back to recap the second period for you in 2 minutes. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network. Only 1 goal scored in that second period, and the game is all tied 1-1 with 1 period to go, and that was on a deflection, the same way the Kings scored in the first period, and a beautiful deflection by Jean-Marc Lanthier as the shot came from J.J. Daigneault out at the blue line, and you will see on our television portion of the simulcast just a beautiful deflection there by Lanthier. Power play goal, his 6th goal of the year from Daigneault and Smeal at 3:51, and we are tied at 1-1. You know, after 78 games in the regular season, 3 divisions, Nick, still are undecided in a couple of who will win first place, and in the other division, the Kings division, the Smythe division, who's going to get second. Let's take a look at the Smythe division. Winnipeg and Calgary still battling there with only 2 games left.
Yeah, both teams have really been red hot the last month or so. Winnipeg currently second with 93 points. Calgary playing tonight with Edmonton, 92 points, just to point out.
And they're going to Calgary at Edmonton tonight, as you say, and then Winnipeg at Edmonton tomorrow night, and they play each other this Sunday night at Calgary. In the Norris division, St. Louis leads 82 points. Chicago right behind them with 80, and they each have 2 games remaining. And then in the Adams division, Nick, we've got 3 teams still battling for the top spot with only 2 games left.
That's right. Last night, a big victory. Montreal 7-1 over Quebec. Montreal leads the Nordiques by 2 points. The Buffalo Sabres by 3 points. One thing is for sure in that division, Boston will finish 4th.
And here tonight with 1 period to go, the Kings trying to get back and take over the lead again, but they didn't get many shots in that second period, Nick.
They certainly didn't. Taking a look at the 2-period statistics, the game is tied up at 1. The goals by Ruskowski and Lanthier. The shots on goal in the second period. Canucks with 11, Kings with 4. 2-period totals, the Kings with 16, Vancouver with 21. The face-offs, Vancouver won more than their share in that second period. They now lead in that category through 2 periods. They've won 22, and the Kings have won 16. On the power play, the Canucks 1 of 3. The Kings are 1 of 2, and they'll start this period with 1:38 left on the second minor to Rick Lands. 4 penalties to the Kings for 8 minutes, likewise for Vancouver. We're tied at 1 as we enter the third period.
And the Canucks drive it down into the Kings zone. Kings now with a power play and a chance to regain the lead. Up to center. Here's McClellan down the right side. Mack into the Vancouver zone. Stops against the right wing boards. Gives it out the blue line to Hardy and off his stick out to center ice. Hardy right in front of the Vancouver bench. Picks it up there. Gives it to Dion. Marcel gives it to Bernie Nichols. Here's Nichols across the Vancouver line. Top of the slot. Pass on the right side to Taylor. Taylor in deep. Can't get a shot, and covering it up is the goaltender Richard Brodeur of Vancouver. Again, we mentioned this earlier. I think it was March 8th when we did a television radio simulcast from here in Vancouver, that the Canucks wear that JCM on their sleeve, and that, of course, in case you're wondering and didn't hear us that night, is in honor of John Calverley Jake Milford, the longtime King and Vancouver general manager who passed away just around Christmas this year. Kings with it. Dion, left point, shooting, save made in the pads of Brodeur, and the Canucks clear it, and it rolls on end all the way down to the Kings zone. 1 minute left to go in the double minor to Rick Lands. 1-1 tie. Pass up the center. Here's Taylor with it. He slides it over to Bernie Nichols. Nichols across the line into the Vancouver zone. Down the right side. Dion's all alone. Dion in front. He shoots wide to the left side. Now it comes down the out the left point to McClellan. He gave it away to McAdams. McAdams pass to center. Picked up now as the Kings take it away. Here's Bernie Nichols. Dion cutting right in front, and Brodeur got his stick out to deflect it. Now a pass up to center and just out of the reach of Gradine. Kings with it. Here is Gradine taking it in the Kings zone, looking for a shorthander to Smeal. He shoots and a save. Loose puck picked up by the Kings. Back they come now with 20 seconds left to go in the King power play. Here's Nichols across the line. Nichols passing down the right side in deep. It goes behind the net. Brodeur trying to get it there. Shutt tipped it away, and it hit the back of the net. And now 12 seconds remaining in the penalty to Lands. What'd you think of that shot by Dion?
Well, it was a pretty good setup. Number 1 by Bernie Nichols across ice. Dion slipped behind everybody, and he shot off the pass quickly, and it appeared that Brodeur, sliding across from left to right, may have got the tip of his right skate on it. At least that's the way I thought Brodeur handled the play, but a great scoring chance in the power play, needless to say, for Marcel Dion.
Now the right point. Here is Redmond, and the return pass from Shutt gets by him out to center ice. 3 seconds left to go in the Vancouver penalty, and now they are back at full strength, and the game still tied 1-1. Puck comes up to center. Here's Lands with it there. He gives it back now to Lidster, over to Butcher. Vancouver moving left to right. Butcher to Lupul. Lupul down the right side. He is bumped against the boards by Redmond. Puck comes back behind the King net. Now around to Shutt. Shutt bumped against the left wing boards by Mike Stevens. Shutt gets it back again. Not cleared out. Held in by Lidster. Now it comes out to center. Canucks flip it back in. They'll be offside if they touch it. Kings with it, though. Right in front of the King bench here is Engblom. And now it comes back into the Vancouver zone, and back to get it there is Lidster. He plays it up to Butcher on the right side. His pass broken up at center ice by Redmond. Redmond drives it off the glass up to center, and had Gary Galley ducking out of the way. Puck is taken by Jim Fox at center ice for the Kings, and he fires it back behind the Vancouver net. 17:37 left to go in the game. Bob Miller with Nick Nixon. 1-1 the score. Puck is taken by Hawkinson, but his pass taken away by Garth Butcher. Butcher for Vancouver. He tried to give it a Lupul. Didn't get it. Comes all the way down into the Kings zone. Going to be icing here against the Vancouver Canucks with 17:25 to go in the game. And the score tied at 1-1. This game is coming to you live from the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, British Columbia. Kings hockey is being brought to you by Canon. Quality cameras and photographic equipment that's so advanced, Canon is the world's leader in 35mm photography. That's Canon. Now the Kings with it at the blue line. Rick Lapointe sends it in deep, tipped away by McNab. McNab for Vancouver, trying to play it up on the left side. He did to Mo LeMay. LeMay up to center for Vancouver, 3-on-3. LeMay at the red line. His pass down the left side to Daniel. Daniel cut off against the boards by Gary Galley. Daniel still with it. Knocked down. Puck taken by Bob Miller. He overskated it in the Kings zone. Now it's picked up on the right side by Rick Lapointe, and he lifts it high out to center. Back down into the Vancouver zone. Now lands his pass into the King zone, deflects off the boards on the left side, chased down by Gary Galley. Galley with a reverse pass, came off the boards though and intercepted by Cam Neely. Neely with a pass right through in front of the net. Puck taken by the Kings. Back they come up to center now on the left side. Here's Bob Miller. Miller across the line. Miller drops it back for Lapointe. He shoots. It's blocked on the way in. Comes off on the left side to Hawkinson. Hawkinson for the Kings against the left wing boards. He passes in deep, and Lands takes it. Looked like the Kings had a 3-on-2, Nick, and they went for a change there as they came out to center ice.
Yeah, that line had been out for a while, and J.P. Kelly wanted to get off, and he came off, and Sykes came on, but that negated the real clean 3-on-2.
Now Fox tried to give it to Sykes, but it's broken up, and the Canucks have it. Pass on the left side, goes in front of Skriko, and coming back to take it away is the King rookie defenseman Ken Hammond. His pass off the boards out to center ice with 16:08 to go in the game. 1-1 tie. Puck comes down the right side. Here is Gradine in the King zone. Gradine against Hammond. Gradine's pass right through the slot over on the left side, trying to get it to Tanti, but it was out of his reach. Taken by Bernie Nichols. Nichols' pass in the King zone comes to Sykes. Sykes drops it back for Hammond. Hammond up to center. Hammond's pass on the right side to Fox. Fox across the line into the Vancouver zone. Fox lost it there. Gradine takes it away. Can't clear it. Held in, but now Gradine with it again, and he clears it up to center. Back to get it for the Kings, Bernie Nichols. 15:38 to go in the game. Not one of your better ones of the year, I would say. Puck comes down the right side. Here is Sykes, sends it into Bernie Nichols. Nichols in deep, sends it right back in front of the net, tipped away by Brodeur. 1-1 tie. Puck comes up to center ice. Here's Hammond with it to the red line. Hammond for the Kings. He's out of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, the NCAA champions. Pass to Nichols. Nichols' pass broken up by Gradine. Gradine overskated it, taken there by Skriko. 15:12 left to go in the game. Puck comes right in front of the King bench, taken by Hammond. He sweeps it off the boards on the right side, out of the reach of Nichols. Kings going for a line change. Puck is back in the Vancouver zone. Hallward back in to get it. Hallward drops it off on the right side now, and it is taken by Butcher. Butcher's pass up to center to Smeal. Smeal's pass taken by Lupul across the line. Lupul drops it for Butcher. Butcher shoots, saved by Elliott. Rebound is picked up by Stevens. Pass in front, tipped away. Blue line shot by Lidster is wide to the left. Taken by Smeal. He centers it. Scored by Gary Lupul. And the Vancouver Canucks lead for the first time tonight at 2-1.
The goal at 5:19. The Kings just not handling the puck well at all here in the third period. Couldn't pounce in that loose puck. Three Kings had an opportunity. They poked at it. The Canucks kept it in. Smeal on the backhand just dumped it in front, came right to Lupul, and he fished it out of a couple of sets of skates and went down low. 5:19, and the Vancouver Canucks take the lead for the first time tonight.
Well, Pat Quinn looking on, and the King team is going to have to get a lot more intense. Granted, this game is not going to mean anything in the standings, but as we have said all along, when you're trying to get ready, Terry Ruskowski said you're trying to get ready for the playoffs next week. Certainly not the intensity that you might expect the Kings to have. I'm hopeful, and I think
Vancouver goal is 12
change intensity next week. Gary Lupul with the goal. Now the Kings, Tiger Williams sends it over the right side to Redmond. Redmond to the red line. Redmond shoots from center ice and a save by Brodeur. Brodeur drops it down on the left side. Now it's cleared to center. Back come the Canucks. Here's Al McAdam dropping it to Lanthier. Poke checked away by Engblom. Picked up by Shutt. Shutt gave it away at the blue line. Held in on the right side by Jerry Gillis. Gillis in the King zone. Down the right corner. Checked by Ruskowski. And Lanthier tries to dig it out, but it's taken by Engblom. Engblom circles the King net, comes around the right side, and now out to center. Shutt has lost his stick, so he sweeps it up to center, and it's picked up now by Vancouver. Taken by the Canucks as Lanthier gives it to Lands. 13:41 to go in the game, and the Kings are down 2-1. Only King goal tonight came at 3:47 of the first period. Ruskowski from Engblom and Redmond. Puck is at center ice now and dug out by the Kings. McClellan at the blue line. Here's Mack across the line. Gets a shot. Stick save by Brodeur. Puck comes to Dion. Left side. Dion to McClellan. He sent it in front. Broken up there by Daigneault. McClellan trying to intercept the pass. Daigneault with a 3-on-2. Daigneault, McNab, and Neely. Daigneault to McNab. Left wing. He shoots, and a save by Elliott. Rebound. Daigneault with it again. Gives it to McNab. McNab's got Lands. He shoots wide to the left side. Here's Daigneault with it. His pass in front to McNab, and he tipped it just wide. Puck is picked up by the Kings. Here's Taylor coming up the center. Here's Taylor the red line. Taylor down the left side into the Vancouver zone. The McClellan, his shot is wide. Rebound. McClellan can't get to it. Lands with it. Lands checked hard by Dave Taylor, and a penalty coming up to Taylor. Charging against Taylor, and now he gets pushed by a couple of the other Canucks. So Dave Taylor trying to instill some intensity in this effort here tonight, but they're down 2-1 now, and Vancouver's going to have the power play. Taylor, 2 minutes for charging. 2-1 Vancouver. We'll be back in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
And he started his charge towards Lands from about the right wing faceoff circle, about 20 feet away from Rick Lands. It was a direct call by Bob Hall, a call you don't see too often, but Dave Taylor maybe trying to spark this club, which has really played a lackluster game since the early portion of the first period. Taylor charging, 7:06, 2-1 Canucks. Lupul's 12th from Stevens and Smeal.
Puck is back in the Vancouver zone. They're moving left to right, and here's Hallward with it with 12:41 left to go in the game. Vancouver with the man advantage. Here they come out of their own zone. Here's Smeal down the right wing. Smeal with 2 assists tonight. Drives it into the Kings zone. It's back behind the net. Darren Elliott stops it there. Driven around the boards to the right point. Hallward holds it in to Lupul. Lupul had it come high in the air into the corner to Smeal. Right wing boards. King zone. Here's Lupul with it again. Plays it up the middle to Hallward. Hallward back to Lupul. Right side. He shoots, and a stick save by Elliott. Rebound. Lupul with it again. Lupul behind the net. Checked by Hardy. Gets it to Smeal. Smeal drops it back behind the net to Lupul again. He comes around on the right side. His pass out toward the point. Broken up and cleared by Anders Hawkinson. Hawkinson comes off the ice. Galley and Sykes come on. Engblom and Bob Miller still on for the Kings. Miller tried to dive behind the net and take it away from Petit. Petit gets away from him. Gives it on the left side to Neely. Now back it goes to Skriko. Skriko in the King zone. Goes behind the net. Comes around. Tried to jam it in. And a save by Elliott. Rebound picked up by Tony Canty. Left wing. Up the middle to left point. Shot by Petit and deflected in front. Comes around to Bob Miller on the left side. He can't clear it. It's held in by Hallward. To Tanty. Tanty gives it to Skriko. Skriko, right side, King zone. He waits up the middle to Hallward. He winds. He shoots. Save or a block. Rebound. Skriko in deep. Can't get a shot. Now it comes back behind the net. Skriko with it again. He's checked in the corner by Engblom. 30 seconds to go in the King penalty. Peter Skriko still with it. 2-1 Vancouver. Skriko's pass hit a skate and out to center ice and taken there by Hallward. Here's Hallward for Vancouver. Back across the King line. Pass on the left side. Canucks holding it in with 19 seconds to go in the power play. Here's a shot by Petit. Blocked in front. Cleared from the slot by Engblom, but held in by Skriko. Skriko on the left side. Up the middle of Petit. He shoots wide to the left side. Picked up now by Skriko again. 7 seconds up to go in the power play. Here's Skriko looking for Lupul. Coming in on the right side. Gives it up the middle of Petit. Back to Skriko. Skriko, left circle, up the middle, Tanty. His shot blocked, and the Kings will clear it. And they got the man out of the penalty box. Here's a breakaway by Taylor. Taylor going in all alone. Taylor, right side. He hit the side of the net. He got it too steep an angle. Taylor again. Taylor in the corner to McClellan. He shoots and a save. Rebound. Ruskowski scores to tie the game. Terry Ruskowski with his second of the night got it right out in front of the crease. And the game is tied at 2-2.
Well, good second effort. Dave Taylor coming out of the penalty box, picked up that puck onside towards Vancouver's side of center ice. Deked Brodeur, but was in too steep, couldn't find the net. The puck was worked by Ruskowski to Taylor in the corner. He left it for McClellan, who took a quick shot. Save was made, and Brodeur down and out for the rebound, which was lifted up and over just under the crossbar by Ruskowski. So Taylor and McClellan should pick up the assist on Ruskowski's 16th of the season, second of the night at 9:23, just seconds after Taylor stepped out of the penalty box.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
The award-winning news following the Kings hockey game on your Kings station, KHJ-TV, Channel 9, Los Angeles.
Dave Taylor, the time 9:23. Ruskowski from McClellan and Taylor.
So the King captain, Terry Ruskowski, as he indicated during the interview between periods with Nick, trying to get something going in this team, and he's got both goals tonight for the Kings. Puck is back in the Vancouver zone. Game tied 2-2. At the left point, Hammond holds it in. Hammond now at the blue line. It rolls away, and Taylor holds it in. Taylor sends it in deep. Garth Butcher with it for the Canucks. Sends it over to Lidster. Here's Lidster playing it up ahead to Lupul. Lupul up to center ice now. Lupul to the red line. Poke checked off his stick by Hammond, taken by the Kings. Here's Dion down the right side across the line. Drops it for Taylor. Taylor gets knocked down, and a penalty to Mike Stevens of Vancouver. A tripping penalty against the Canucks. Now skating by is Butcher, and he throws an elbow at Taylor.
Well, obviously he's upset over the charge earlier this period that Taylor threw on Rick Lands, but I don't know if the linesman saw it, but a penalty should be called on Butcher for that bit of action.
2-2 tie. We'll be back in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Tripping. 9:54 of the third period. The Kings, who have just tied it up, go on the power play for the fourth time tonight. They are 1 of 3. The Canucks are 1 of 4.
Face off now to the left of Richard Brodeur. A chance for the Kings to take the lead. Ruskowski wins the draw. Out to the right point it goes. Here's Redmond across, along the line. Gives it to Engblom. Engblom down the left side. Plays it in now to Fox. Fox against the boards. Back to Engblom. Engblom to the left point. Back to Fox on the left wing. His pass to the middle. Redmond shooting off the pass. His shot is wide. Held in by Ruskowski while falling down to his knees. He gets it to Redmond. Over the left side to Engblom. Engblom. His pass in front and shot. Just tipped it wide. Picked up now by the Kings, Terry Ruskowski. His pass deflected up in the air, bounces down. Shutt goes for it, out to the right point to Redmond. Redmond's pass into Ruskowski to Shutt, back to Redmond. Redmond to the right point. Redmond shoots, blocked in front by Brodeur, and cleared by the Canucks out to center ice.
Pretty good job, Terry Ruskowski being bothered by Doug Lidster in front as they both were screening the goaltender.
Fox's pass broken up by Gary Lupul at the Vancouver line, and he fires it all the way back behind the King net. 9:14 left to go in the game. Score tied 2-2. Puck is back behind the net, taken there by Engblom for the Kings. Kings moving right to left, and they've got 1 minute left to go in the power play. Here comes Engblom up to center, across the line. He's bothered there by Lupul right in front of the Vancouver bench. Nichols picks it up. Here's Bernie of the red line. Bernie drives it into the Vancouver zone. Back behind the net. Brodeur cuts it off there. Fox goes for it. It's poked away over to Lupul. Lupul trying to clear it. Does clear it up to the blue line, and then Stan Smeal flips it down into the King zone. Back to get it, Marcel Dion with 37 seconds to go in the power play. 2-2 tie. Dion slides it over on the left side to Hardy. Hardy comes across the King line. Hardy trying to get away from LeMay. Hardy to the red line. Hardy across the line. Gives it on the left side to Nichols. Nichols with Taylor. They get mixed up for a moment. Now Nichols with it. His pass up to the blue line to McClellan. Here's Mack, top of the slot. He shoots wide. Rebound up the middle taken by Smeal. And dropped it there, and LeMay picked it up. Here's LeMay down the left side against McClellan. LeMay into the King zone. Shoots, and it's wide to the right side. Rebound back off the boards out to center ice. 5 seconds left to go in the power play for the Kings. Hallward clears it up to center, and Vancouver's back at full strength. Here's Strico shooting from the left side, and a save made off the blocker of Darren Elliott. 2-2 tie. Kings with it again. Pass over to Taylor. Taylor down the right side. Vancouver zone, and it's poke checked away. Back up to center. LeMay with it. LeMay to Neely. Neely gets it on the left side now, and Daigneault across the line. He's bumped there. Nichols bumps him again. Now behind the net, Strico with it. Strico, a pass right through the slot. Out to the left side. Demo LeMay. He shoots. Save in the glove of Darren Elliott. And he hangs on for the faceoff. A 2-2 tie, and we'll be back in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
There's some credit for waking up the club a little bit. He took that penalty for charging, but the Kings gave him right back after he stepped out of the penalty box and tied it up. Ruskowski's goal is second of the night.
Now off the draw to the right of Elliott. Bob Miller gets it ahead to Hawkinson. Here come the Kings. 4-on-2 to center. Pass on the left side to J.P. Kelly. Kelly into the Vancouver zone. Down the left side. Kelly tried to drop it off from a point, but the Canucks take it away, and it's cleared back into the Kings zone. Chased down by Hawkinson. He gets it to Rick Lapointe. Lapointe at the King line. Ahead to Bob Miller. Miller at the King blue line. Comes up across the red line now on the right side. He fires it back behind the net. 7:13 to go in the game. 2-2 tie. Rick Lapointe tried to hold it into the left point. Couldn't do it. And it came out to center. I want to remind you that the second annual Los Angeles Hockey Association Easter Tournament is going on right now at the Culver Ice Rink on Sepulveda Boulevard in Culver City. Young hockey players from California, Northern California, Southern California, and Arizona between the ages of 6 and 16 are playing over there, and you get a chance to go on over and watch some pretty good young people play hockey at Culver City. The Los Angeles Hockey Association second annual Easter Tournament. That'll go on tomorrow and then conclude on Sunday. Now Steve Shutt from the left side with a shot. Easy glove save made by Brodeur. 7 minutes to go in the game, and the puck hops up over the glass, up into the crowd. 2-2 tie here in the third period, and the game coming away live from Vancouver, British Columbia. Kings hockey being brought to you by your Toyota dealer and Toyota's all-new 4Runner, the versatile four-wheel drive vehicle. And brought to you by Mark C. Bloom. You can't choose the right tire if you don't have a choice. That's Mark C. Bloom. Same two teams again tomorrow night at the fabulous Forum. Here's Redmond at the left point. His shot, and it just deflected and was steered away by Brodeur. Now picked up by the Canucks in their own zone. And fed to the blue line and out to center ice, taken there by Butcher. Butcher's pass broken up by Ruskowski, and we've got a slashing call against the Kings, and they got Tiger Williams. So the Tiger goes back to the penalty box, and with a 2-2 tie, Vancouver's got the power play. We'll be back in 30 seconds. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network.
Williams is getting 2 minutes for slashing. 13-18 the time of the penalty, so the Canucks get the man advantage for the 5th time tonight. Each club with a power play goal tonight. 2-2 the score. Lanthier and Lupul for the Canucks. Ruskowski with both for L.A.
Just before that, I think I said Redmond fired from the left point. It was number 6, Ken Hammond, the King defenseman. Now back behind the Vancouver net. They've got the man advantage with time running out in regulation. Here's Smeal dropping it back now, and Petit brings it to center. Game tied 2-2. Petit with a drive from center ice and a glove stop by Elliott. He passes up to Bob Miller. They got a man breaking to center. It's Hawkinson, but the puck is out of his reach, and into the corner goes the goaltender Brodeur. He sweeps it back behind the net and up on the right side to Gary Lupul. Lupul back in his own zone. Vancouver moving left to right, and here they come to center, trying to take the lead again. Lupul, who gave him a 2-1 lead, drives it down into the King zone. It comes around on the right side to Lanthier. Out to the right point to Hallward. Hallward checked there by Sykes. Pass goes into Lanthier. Now behind the net to Smeal. Smeal bumped there by Hardy. Lanthier picks it up. He'll lose it to Bob Miller or to Sykes. Here's Sykes clearing it off the boards, but not out. Canucks hold it in at the blue line. Now on the left side. Here's Petit. Now a pass in deep right in front of the net off the skate of Engblom. Steered out to the blue line by Elliott, and now out to center ice. Chased down by Hallward. Hallward for Vancouver now with 52 seconds left to go in the power play. Canucks drive it back into the King zone. Here's Lupul. Lupul down the right side. Lupul against the right wing boards. Out to Hallward at the right point. Taken away. Here's Sykes up the center. He gets knocked out. Puck comes to Bob Miller. Miller on the left wing. Miller is knocked down on a hip check at the blue line by Michel Petit. Petit picks it up. He drives it down to the King zone, but he didn't get across center ice. Icing going to be called here as Hardy touches it with 30 seconds left to go in the King penalty to Tiger Williams. The game is tied 2-2, and I think Terry Ruskowski a little upset that no penalty was called when Sykes was dumped. The Kings could have had a 2-on-1.
Peter McNab, formerly of the Boston Bruins and Buffalo Sabres, came over about a year ago, February 3rd, in exchange for Jim Nill, who has since moved on to the Winnipeg Jets and has been very productive for the Winnipeg Jets in the second half. McNab with the big rich, good on the power play over the years, 6'3", 205 pounds.
Kings Awards night tomorrow night at the end of the first period. 8 awards will be given out, and we hope you'll make plans to be there. There are tickets available. Final game of the regular season tomorrow night at the fabulous Forum, the Kings and the Vancouver Canucks. Now the Canucks in their own zone still have the power play for another 20 seconds. Puck is taken by Rick Lance. Lance drops it off to Daigneault. Daigneault's pass up ahead to McNab. McNab down the right side. Galley getting back. McNab picks it up. Passes back to the right side to Daigneault. Daigneault cutting in into the slot. It rolls off a stick. He gets it again. He shoots. Deflected wide. 2 seconds to go in the King penalty to Williams. Here's Mo LeMay. LeMay against the right wing boards. Into McNab. He walks in front. He shoots. And a save or blocked in front by Rick LaPointe. And he covers up on it. 4:37 left to go in the regulation part of the game, and the score is all tied 2-2. This game is coming to you live from the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, British Columbia. Kings hockey being brought to you by Great Western Savings, with over 300 locations and over $22 billion in assets. That's Great Western Savings. It's a new brand of banking. Face-off will be to the left of Darren Elliott. One of the awards tomorrow night is going to be renamed the Bill Libby Most Valuable Player Award, and that's named after the late hockey writer from Southern California, Bill Libby, and his wife Sharon, and daughters will be there to present it, and that's a good choice. Hockey did not have a bigger backer in Southern California than Bill Libby, who passed away this past year, and very happy to see that they have named that trophy after Bill. We'll present those awards tomorrow night at the end of the first period at the Fabulous Forum in the final game of the season. Kings are back at full strength now. Here's Dion giving it over to Redmond. Redmond down the right side. Down the middle goes Taylor. Redmond to Taylor. He scores! Oh, what a nice pass and a shot by Dave Taylor right off the pass. Redmond went down the right side. Taylor headed down the middle. Redmond gave it to Taylor, and he drives it into the net, and the Kings lead 3-2.
Well, Craig Redmond took the puck, started to go with it, one-on-one with Lidster, put the brakes on, centered in front. It looked like Taylor would do well just to get a piece of the puck, but he not only took the pass, but he shot in one motion, beating Brodeur cleanly in the upper left corner. And for Dave Taylor, his 39th of the season, a goal now in each of his last 3 games. At 15:44, Redmond will pick up 1 assist, and the Kings lead for the second time tonight.
Craig Redmond, King rookie defenseman from this area, and with a couple of assists in the game tonight. Now the Kings with it again. Dion, Vancouver zone. His pass, right side. Taylor couldn't get it. Tipped away by Hallward. Cleared up to center ice. Dion gets an assist on it, and that puts him ahead of Phil Esposito into 3rd place all-time in assists in the NHL. That's Dion's 874th assist. Here's Fox with it in the slot. Over to McClelland, and he tried to get it back to Dion, but he's tied up. Puck is taken by the Canucks. 3:38 left to go in the game. Kings ahead. Here's Dion, left side, Vancouver zone. Gives it to McClelland. Here's Mack waiting against the left wing boards. Out to the blue line to Hammond. He shoots. He scores! Hammond gets his first goal, I think, unless it was tipped in. No, it's going to be Ken Hammond's goal. Dion picks up the souvenir for him. And from the left point, Ken Hammond, the rookie in only his 2nd NHL game out of RPI, scores the goal. I thought for a moment it may have been deflected in, but Dion went for the souvenir. Kenny Hammond from the left point, and the Kings lead 4-2.
Well, Dion and Doug Hallward were battling for position right in front, and Brodeur obviously was affected by the traffic in front. Hammond just shot quickly, a good low drive in his 2nd NHL game. Ken Hammond, who was drafted by the Kings 2 summers ago in '83, gets his first NHL goal. 4-2 for the Kings.
3:20 left to go in the game, and we have an icing call against the Kings, and the faceoff will move back into the Kings zone. So Ken Hammond fires from the left point and scores his first NHL goal. And the Kings enjoy their finest margin tonight. 4-2. Here's the announcement.
Scored by number 6, Ken Hammond. The assist to number 27, Brian McClelland. And to number 16, Marcel Dion at 16:31. Hammond from McClelland and Dion at 16:31.
So Dion with his 2nd assist of the game. And as we said, the assist on Taylor's goal is 874. There's a shot to save and a rebound by McNab, and another save by Darren Elliott.
Well, right off the draw, Pete McNab, we mentioned his size a few moments ago, went right in front of that net. That's where he's done most of his damage over the years, and looked like he had a couple of opportunities and almost got that second chance underneath Darren Elliott, but he came up with the save. So the Kings with 2 goals in a span of under a minute. At 15:44, Taylor's 39th from Redmond and Dion, and then at 16:31, Ken Hammond his first from McClelland and Dion. The Kings with the last 3 goals to lead it by 2.
Now the draw won by McNab. Here's Lands to the right point, Kings zone. His pass in deep, broken up by the Kings, and Bob Miller clears it out to center. 3 minutes left to go in the game. The final road game of the year for the Kings, and they're trying to win for the 14th time. Now a good check at center ice by J.P. Kelly. Knocks Mo LeMay down. They both get up. Puck comes over to McNab. McNab across the King line. He is checked there by Hawkinson. Puck comes in to Rick Lapointe. Lapointe in the corner, has it taken away, and it is centered by Mo LeMay. Broken up again. Again, it's in the right wing corner now. McNab digs it out. McNab gives it on the right side to Mo LeMay. To the blue line to Rick Lands. Lands, his shot deflected into the corner by J.P. Kelly. Taken by Rick Lapointe. 2:30 to go in the game. Kings ahead 4-2. Here's Bob Miller across the line with J.P. Kelly. Miller sends it down the left side. Kelly in the corner. Kelly checked there by Lance, and they battle for the puck. It is picked up by Neely. Next week, the playoffs start. Remember, Channel 9 and on KGIL live next Wednesday and Thursday at Edmonton at 6:20. Kings against Wayne Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers. Now the puck comes down into the Kings zone, and fanning to clear it was Elliott, and Engblom bumped into him. Pass up the middle. In front. Tanti, right side. He waits. His pass to the blue line, held in by Butcher. And now in front, Gradin shooting, blocked by the Kings. Now on the left side, we've got a penalty coming up against the Kings. Well, they got in trouble there, and now Darren Elliott going to talk to Brian Engblom. As Elliott came out to clear or at least move the puck out from the vicinity of the net, and he fanned on it, and Engblom ran right into him, and then Kings really got in trouble as the Canucks had some pretty good opportunities. But we're down to 1:51 to go in the game, and the Kings have a 4-2 lead.
Gary Galley going to the penalty box at 18:09. A reminder that Connors and Lendl at the Fabulous Forum. Jimmy Connors, Yvonne Lendl, Monday, April 15th at 6 p.m. Tickets are available now at the Forum box office and Ticketmaster. Don't miss that great tennis matchup. They've been touring around the country. Connors and Lendl.
Tomorrow night we'll be on the air live at 7:20 with a pregame show as these two teams meet in the season finale in Los Angeles. That broadcast tomorrow night on KGIL 1260 on the AM dial and K-Wave FM 108. Face-off will be to the right of Darren Elliott. The Vancouver Canucks are going to have the power play here for the remainder of the game unless they score. As Gradin wins the draw, back to the blue line to Petit. Michel Petit, his pass in front, tipped and a save by Darren Elliott as Tony Tanti deflected it. And Elliott went down to his knees to make the save with 1:45 left to go in the game.
Vancouver Canucks working on their sixth power play, and for the most part tonight they've been trying to get that puck high in the slot to one of the point men, either Petit or Hallward, the two of them out there now, but they like to work the puck in the middle up high in the slot.
Now off the draw, the puck comes down to center ice. Kings trying to get their 34th win of the year and ensure them of an over 500 season. They would be 2 games over 500 with 1 game left. Puck is driven by Engblom into the Vancouver zone and back to get it now on the right side, Michel Petit. 1:29 to go in the game. Bob Miller with Nick Nixon. Hope you've enjoyed it and get set to join us tomorrow night and then next week for the playoffs against Edmonton. Here's Tanti into the King zone. Drops it off on the left side, gets it back again. Tanti in the left wing corner, checked by Hardy. Hardy and Tanti battle for it. Now Strico in to pick it up. He overskates it. Hardy gives it to Hawkinson, and the Hawk clears it back into the Vancouver zone. 1:08 left to go in the game. 4-2 in favor of the Kings. They were down 2-1 and got 3 straight goals. Ruskowski is second of the game and 16th of the year. Taylor is 39th and Hammond is first. Back down the left side. Here's McNab into the King zone. His pass to Tanti in front. He shoots, safe. Rebound blocked. McNab's shot deflected. They pulled the goaltender now for the extra attacker at the left side. Here's Petit, King zone. He shoots, safe. Rebound, McNab shoots. He scores. Power play goal. And with 43 seconds to go in the game, it's 4-2 or 4-3 in favor of the Kings.
Beat McNab right in front. McNab had trouble with the puck. It was in his skates after the original shot was taken from the left circle, but he finally got the stick down and beat Elliott in the low left corner. And again, a lot of traffic in front. The veteran Peter McNab getting the Canucks to within 1 with 43 seconds left. For McNab, his 23rd of the season. They pulled the goaltender, and with Galley in the penalty box, the skating advantage actually was a 6-on-4. The power play goal at 19:17, 4-3 Kings.
And now a timeout.
Goal is
Here's the announcement on the goal.
By number 8, Peter McNab. The assist to number 24, Michel Petit. And to number 12, Stan Smeel. The time 19:17. McNab on the power play from Petit and Smeel at 19:17.
All right, 43 seconds left to go in Vancouver's final home game. It's going to be the final game for that old scoreboard up there too, Nick. That has been here since this Pacific Coliseum opened January 8th, 1968. And they'll replace it with a brand new one next year. McNab right in the slot. Put it just past the glove of Darren Elliott. Now the goaltender Brodeur is back in. King win the draw. And the puck is at the King line. Here's Hardy with it. He passes up to center ice to Tiger Williams. Williams sends it down the left side. Chased down by Nichols. Hooked away. Neely with it. The goaltender Brodeur is still in. Pass up to center. 30 seconds to go in the game. Puck is flipped now by Nichols into the Vancouver zone. So Hammond, if it holds on, will get the game-winning goal for the Kings. 20 seconds to go in the game. Here's Tiger Williams against the left wing boards. Williams in the corner. He's checked there. Neely picks it up. Neely with it. 15 seconds to go in the game. Here come the Canucks trying to come to center. Pass up to LeMay. He lost it to Hardy. Hardy to Nichols. Nichols drives it to Fox. Fox sends it in. 5 seconds to go. That's going to do it. Hammond's going to get the game winner. It is all over, and the Kings win it 4-3. Ken Hammond, the King rookie, gets what proves to be the game-winning goal, his first in the NHL from McClellan and Dion. So in the third period, Lupul made it 2-1 in favor of Vancouver. Then Ruskowski tied it for the Kings at 2. Taylor gave the Kings a 3-2 lead. Hammond gave the Kings a 4-2 lead. And Kenny Hammond, with a big smile on his face, he gets the game-winning goal in his second NHL game. And it's his first goal in the NHL. McNab brought it to within 1 goal at 4-3 with 43 seconds left. Winning goal from the left point on the shot by Ken Hammond.
Ken Hammond shooting off the pass. A lot of activity in front with Marcel Dion and Doug Hallward tying each other up. And Richard Brodeur apparently did not see it until it was too late.
And the shots on goal, Vancouver 35, the Kings 26. We'll be back in 1 minute. This is the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Network. The 3 stars.
Terry Ruskowski, 2 goals. Star number 1, Rick Lands for Vancouver, no points. Star number 2, Craig Redmond had 2 assists. He was given star number 3, but give consideration to Dave Taylor. He got the Kings going in the third period.
So the Kings win their 34th of the year. They have lost 32 and tied 13 with 1 game left. They have 81 points. Vancouver loses for the 46th time. They've won 25, tied 8. They have 58 points. Same 2 teams tomorrow night at the Fabulous Forum. There are tickets available. It's awards night. We'll have the broadcast on KGIL and K-Wave. Next week, Wednesday and Thursday, the playoffs at Edmonton on Channel 9 television and KGIL live at 6:20. And a week from tomorrow night and a week from Sunday, if necessary, the playoffs at Los Angeles. For Nick Nixon, this is Bob Miller. We thank you very much for joining us tonight as the final road game of the season is in the Kings' favor, and their road record this year, 14, 18, and 8. The Kings win it 4-3, and we will bid you good night from Vancouver.
Los Angeles Kings hockey has been brought to you by Toyota, who invites you to see their new cars and trucks for 1985 at your Toyota dealer. By Stroh's, America's only fire-brewed beer. Fire-brewed for smoother taste. By Foot Locker, America's most complete athletic footwear store with more name-brand athletic shoes than any other store. By Canon, quality cameras and photographic equipment so advanced, Canon is the world's leader in 35mm photography. By Inglenook, a special place or a special time to an LA sports fan. It's rooting for the Kings, and Inglenook Vineyards is glad to be part of it. And by MDS Quantel. For industry-specific management systems, Quantel is the computer of champions.